Green line, give it all you can.
Alrighty, we are back. Welcome back. Sorry for the little delay there. A couple of technical difficulties. Thank you to wonderful reliability of PCs in general. So yep, we're back. Connor Hind obviously is leading this particular qualifying, but as predicted correctly, I'm not sure if you heard it before the stream died, but Aiden did predict that Yao would be strong in this, and he is. So he's currently P2, followed by Spence, King, K, Perkins, Spenceley, Adiake, Wood. Is a top 10 for this. So this will be, as I understand it, we're looking at the 16 cars out there at the moment who have qualified. I believe everybody who's meant to qualify has qualified.
Yeah, alright. That's a pretty mad lap by Connor Hind, a 2:16 flat. The track is optimum, but still that is a proper quick lap with the bop on it. So, although obviously this isn't really for anything for Connor, obviously, as he's pretty easily the quickest driver here, it's still very good effort from Connor, as the session has now ended. So everyone that's over the line now will finish their laps, as there are a few cars coming around on the back half of the track. Taniaka, as we saw, I think Tony Spence is still going as well, so still a few positions maybe they're going to get swapped around in the last 30 seconds. But yeah, I can see the number 420, but I can't see the car in front of it. I think it might be Kieran Reid's there. I think it might be Marshy. So yeah, as we see, Spencer's. I think he might have got a little bit blocked there, but obviously you can't overtake someone on a valid lap, so he's had to back out of that one. As Marshy jumps, I think 2 positions, and the session is now over. So we'll see what the order is up the very top. As you said, I'm not sure if we still have 40 cars, so once we're able to, we'll see who is going to lead us away for this reverse grid race.
Yeah, they'll all sort the order out between themselves. The race director will call numbers and get everyone into positions, and we'll get an idea of who is actually starting on pole here. So yeah, a little bit of confusion there thanks to the delay, but we are still going to get a full race here, which is going to be fantastic. But yeah, so some good laps there. You know, I mean, Connor obviously being a second ahead of the field, but that's a 116 flat is sorry, 216 flat is pretty rapid for even for the guys up there on pole position for the last race as well. So doing very well there, even when he didn't have to, which is always nice to see. Got
Yeah,
some
so
wonderful liveries that we might not get to see otherwise.
I was
It's
just going to
usually the
mention
guys
that.
at the back of the grid, yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice looking McLaren on the left with that sort of camo-y orange and black livery there. So don't think we saw too much of that car in the last race. And there's Marshy's BMW on the right. And there's your favorite car in existence on the right as well, Mike. I bet you're just frothing at the mouth looking at that.
It's not my favorite car in existence. It's the greatest car in existence. It's not. You say that like it's a subjective opinion. It's not. I like the Old Spice there, number 47. That's a nice bit of a nice retro look to it. Is it a callback to something? It looks like a very like a NASCAR inspired thing. It is a NASCAR. Yeah, cool. Very nice designer. I appreciate that. Got Lele
Cheeto's
there.
car on the right, yeah, that's the Cheeto's car, and the John Stockton Penrite. It's like it's fire and ice. It's like the Penrite Supercars livery, but it's blue, which I actually think looks pretty good. That lovely sparkly blue does look good, and we've got the Skill Issue Racing 888 McLaren on the left. So that's Lupti's car looking pretty good, and McDowell on the left as well with that kind of. I don't know what you call these, like that pattern. There's definitely a word for it, but I can't remember the name of it. But it does look pretty good.
But whether that was caused by something that we can't see, but once he got the tank snap,
Yeah, we knew you were going to look at that one, Ben.
You got to zoom in on the Jack. That's the best feature of this. I mean, I did this livery, so but the Jack is
okay.
the highlight of the car. That's the whole thing.
an act like that is just jump up and cry and say happy days. Your body has gone through a trauma. Somebody's sitting there.
But yeah, this is definitely going to be very interesting to see how this shakes out, because this is just such a different grid to what we had with the first race. You know, we're going to have the absolute fastest guys right in the middle of the pack here, and we saw in that first race that there was a bit of gaps forming towards the end, but overall the pace of everybody stayed reasonably close together for almost the whole run. So I don't think it's going to be super duper easy, even though overtaking here isn't the most challenging. I think we're still going to see these guys sort of in the middle of that pack have a bit of. It's going to be pretty hard for them to get all the way back up to the front. So it'd be really interesting to see, honestly. And I just hope we don't have too much chaos,
Yeah,
too many
too
incidents
exciting.
and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, I think
content's good, but
Yeah, I think cars with, like you were saying, the bigger engines. If there's a car with decent straight line speed on this track in front, it's probably going to be able to hold its position for quite a while, just as long as you kind of hit your lines and you don't make any serious mistakes. You can hold people off fairly well as long as you just place your car in the right spot. So they're rolling now. So if we can flick to the front of the grid, we've got a camera being prepared, I think. Yep, there it is. So that is Stockton on pole in the Penrite Ferrari, followed by the Aston. I can't exactly remember who is driving that. Oh, sorry, not the Aston.
no, it's Piper
the
in the
GTR.
GTR, yeah.
Yeah, Piper in the GTR. Followed by Kong in the Ferrari, and Price Davies in the Ferrari and P4. Followed by Hayes. Oh, Lele has gone off the track. Okay, that's a weird place to lose it. Maybe he's trying to warm up his tyres a bit too much. We might have to jump back and get a replay of that. But yeah, so we've definitely got a mix in this front group, and I do notice Saxon Hayes in P5, so I think he's going to be someone to watch out for, because I reckon if he can bolt to the front of this group on the start, he has a pretty good chance of finishing at least on the podium.
We were just looking at what happened to Lele here. It looks like we might have another case of just some sort of random failure or something, because they've just stopped the car sort of in the middle of the track there, which has obviously caused a bit of chaos behind. Is everyone not being sure what's happening here as Lele sort of pulls off to the side. It looks to me like sort of a loss of force feedback or something like that. They seem to be able to turn the car okay, but that has muddied up the grid a little bit.
That is going to be very confusing for everyone behind with that massive clump of cars that we just saw. Yeah, the RD's probably working madly to try and get them all sorted out before they get to the end of the lap here. But I think he's got it going again. I think he's made his way back into position. So hopefully everything goes okay for Lele and he doesn't have any failures.
Yeah, I just hope that, yeah, thankfully Spa's a bit of a long track, so they've got some time over the course of the lap to get everyone back to where they should be, because, yeah, you can't rely obviously on the grid position numbers like you normally would to figure out where you would be. But they are going double file here, so obviously the race director's happy enough with where everyone's positioned, and hopefully everyone finds the right spots and everyone gets the odds and evens right and hasn't forgotten where they're supposed to be, and we don't see any little 5-second penalties for being out of position or not quite being where you're supposed to be. As we roll up here, it was a very interesting looking grid at the front. So we've got Stockton and Piper on the front row. Keen to see which of these cars comes out stronger, I think, in this opening section.
That GTR should have a pretty good run down the Camel Straight, especially compared to a Ferrari. So as long as Piper can kind of hold Stockton kind of evenly, or maybe get a draft on him like we saw Max Verstappen do at this track on the weekend, he might be able to get around him by the time they get to turn 1. But they're heading now into turn 1 side by side, getting ready for this start as they hold 70. First 2 rows are obviously Stockton and Piper, Kong and Price Davies. So they're going to try and get as close as they can to each other now, bunch the grid up as much as possible. And they're all going to hold. The start will be fairly late because the grid order is a bit different to what the game is expecting. But we're about to go green here for race 2 of the Thermaltake Sprint Series, split yellow at Spa, and I think that, yep, there's the green flag. We've just seen waves, so Piper's going to do his best to try hold it around the outside here. So he's tucked in right behind Stockton. There's a bit of moving in the middle of the grid, but everyone seems to have made it through Eau Rouge and Radeon pretty cleanly, which is obviously the main danger point we were talking about beforehand coming into this race. But Stockton's able to hold his position as Kong is looking for a move possibly into Lake Kong. Thinks better of it as the whole field condenses behind them now into this funnel going into Lake Com, as they all look to navigate it pretty safely, I've seen. Yep, they've all made it through, I think, yep. Okay, nice and clean for the first few corners there, as Stockton's put a little bit of a gap on Kong, and Piper has lost the position to Kong, so I think Piper took that start a little bit conservatively, but obviously just trying to survive the start is a big thing here, so there's some action going on behind as cars are running through No Name side by side. Rondinella is trying to attack Ryan Anderson here through Pouon, as Miller goes very wide in the background off the track. That's probably going to Lil, not 3 wide, please. Okay, they've brought it back to just 2 wide, which is a bit more safe than 3 wide. But yeah, heading into Lafang now. There's still lots of battling going up and down the field. The 2 car has stopped and is yellow flagged, so that's certainly okay. I think something's happened to him in the background, as Kong now is probably going to be able to get a run on Stockton as they head down the back straight running up to Blanchimont and the bus stop chicane after.
Yeah, really clean so far. Really good job from everybody here, especially some of these guys who aren't a bit less experienced, you know, like Stockton's been around for a while. What? I tell you what,
that was some dirty air there,
Kong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Managed to hold on to it. Got a look up. Oh no, Stockton going a bit wide there. He's going to get away with it though, because everybody else had a little bit of a bad run through the bus stop as well. He's lost some
Kong might have a look here
exit
though.
speed.
Yep.
Yep.
Kong's going to have a look. He's going to make this move down the inside, I would assume, here. Into turn 1. It's going to be side by side going down the straight. Obviously, like we said before, not somewhere you want to be running side by side, especially in a car like the Ferrari, which doesn't quite have the most balance. As the GTR thinks better of running side by side as well, and pulls back in as Saxon Hayes gets a beautiful run as the cars in front of him are kind of darting everywhere, not really sure where to go. So he's going to hold the throttle all the way down, going to try to make his way around the outside, going onto Kenneth Strain as Piper pulls out to look for a move, as we've got a yellow on the end of Radion, so someone's had a bit of an accident there as they head into Lake Com. Com's probably going to get the move done. It's still really close. Stockton can hold him here. He's got the inside for the next corner, but Com's going to have the momentum to head around the outside and get the move done. Mount Benjamin Piper is also looking to make a move around the outside of Stockton, who's kind of getting swamped now, as there is a big bunch of cars all sitting behind this group, ready to go and trying to get as many positions as they possibly can. As Hayes is also getting harassed from the rear by Pascal Armstrong in that Porsche. So yeah, Kong's got the position now. I think he's going to be able to make some inroads as Tony Spence in the 420 heads back to pit. So I think there was some little things we've missed, that incident Eau Rouge and why Spence has gone back to pits, which we'll have to try and see, but the action is definitely continuing here.
Yeah, well, there's definitely been some good movement. So Canero's up P9, so basically somehow has managed to make it back to where he was before. McDowell also doing well, P10. Vincent Johnson, so all making a bit of gains here. Connor Hind up to P15. Brad Cook has made some real movements up to P17 after starting basically at the back. Lele also not far behind him as well. So lots of moves happening in the background, but we've got to focus on this. What is the actual top 4 at the moment? As Kong sort of starting to get away.
Big send in the background, making it 3 wide. There's going to be contact there as Rondinella maybe just outbraking himself a little bit and kind of having to stick his car on the inside, as there was really nowhere to go, as there's another car around Blanchimont, as I think that's a safety car has just been called as we see the field slow down. So we're going to have to get a replay. I think there's been some stuff going on. So this is what happened on the Kemmel Straight. I'm not sure, is this Tony Spence? Or that's a late block, and yeah, the BMW, oh wow. Raupi and Comboy have just been absolutely taken out there by that. So I think there's going to be a big stick coming for that one, because that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate there for the guys at the back. They kept it clean for the opening couple of bits there, but yeah, unfortunately just not quite putting it together. Surprising that that's all that caused the safety car. I wouldn't be surprised maybe there was another incident or something as well that occurred. Well, look, there we go. We've got something happening here more towards the front.
Yep, oh wow, that Ferrari's very wide, having a big moment. Managing to keep it going though, and okay, I don't know if maybe he's got damage or something, but I think he could have continued there, but decides to pull over and make sure that he's okay. But there was another thing that happened at Blanchimont, I reckon was the reason for the safety car, as well as what happened at bus stop. So yeah, definitely a lot of action. I think this lap though we should go back to racing, I'd assume, as everything's kind of got sorted out here. But yeah, Comboy got caught up in all of that, and he's down to 17th now, so I think he's a bit of his hard work undone there after that contact. So yeah, unfortunate for him. I've just, out of the corner of my eye, I've seen what's caused the safety car, which we're about to see here. So this is the Nissan of Lim looking for a move on Miller. Gets crossed up going into Blanchimont, extremely high speed, nothing he can do here. Fires into the Aston Martin of Vintner, and then into the Ford of Vedega. So massive high speed accident, but kind of out of control. Oh wow, as we see, it's not shown, but there was actually a little bit more to that last one. We've just seen some more cars kind of flying out of control, but yeah, very difficult. Obviously, if you lose the car at Blanchimont, there is not much you can do there. Is that Taniake? Oh wow, he's got a hip and shoulder from the Ford, which has also sent the Ford careening off and into limb, which is kind of crazy to think that they both ended up on the same part of road on this, what is it, 6 kilometer circuit, I think. So very unlucky for those guys.
Yeah, it's basically, it's pretty much a classic nonchalant moment. Unfortunately, one car, especially when the grid's so close, tightly packed like that, one car goes off, it can just absolutely steamroll together. It's such a fast corner, it's so easy to get wrong, and like certain cars just, you have to hold a particular line to get the most speed through there, or maybe you haven't practiced it quite enough, or you're just not used to it, and then yep, you got dirty air, all those factors that come into it. It's like, you know, yeah, you've just got to be super careful through that section, but you know, that's racing. Unfortunately, that can happen, as it looks like we are going to be going a green.
So this is actually a big advantage for the guys in the midfield who started the race, who finished well last race, because now the field bunches up again. Yes, they do lose a little bit of time, but the gaps have all come right down, so they're basically right on the back of whoever they want to attack now, which is highly advantageous for them. As we can also see, Connor Hind is in P12, so he started P21, I believe, if my mental maths is correct, I would assume. So he's up to P12 already with that purple lap, as Ben Piper tries to make a move around the outside of Stockton, brakes very late, but those Ferrari brake, or there's a little bit of contact there as Piper just gives him a little rub, but Stockton able to hold the position for now, and yeah, maintain his P3. But Piper's got a decent run. He's going to try and make it around the outside again at Bruxelles. Also a very hard corner to make it around the outside, and I think Stockton's going to hold this position. And there's definitely a queue of cars forming up here. Loopty's in there, so is Saxon Hayes. So yeah, this is probably where we're going to see a lot of the battles happening for the next few minutes.
Well, yeah,
but they're getting wide.
Saxon. Yep, the Nissan Chunder steering all the way around that corner, as it loves to do. I feel you there, Benny Piper. I know that experience too well. He struggles to hold on a little bit there, especially with cold tyres. The Nissan can be just such a challenge through that section of corners, especially when you've got these sort of, you know, much better downforce cars all around you. But doing well to hold on there, Ben. I believe in you, and the mighty GTR will come back to you. Don't worry. Once some of these other cars' tyres start to fall off. But yeah, this pack staying well together, like you mentioned. Connor Hind doing well there, P12, making a big move. Brad Cook still up there in P14. I mean, obviously the bit of chaos and crashes has helped these midfield guys, like you said. Not only has it put the cars closer together, but it has sort of taken some people out in that middle field, so it's made it just that little bit easier for them to gain those places. But everything's had a bit of a reset now, and hopefully everyone's heads are screwed on just that little bit tighter, and we get a clean run here for these last 20 minutes of the race as we follow Saxon Hayes currently in P3 behind John Stockton. Ben Piper not far behind him as well.
Move for McDowell in the background.
Yep.
McDowell pulling out, trying to make a move on Miller. They're going to run side by side down the front straight again, as we've seen. I don't know, can the Porsche go 2x2 through Eau Rouge and Radion? Let's find out. I think McDowell, yeah, he's going to back out. I wanted some more entertainment, guys, come on. He's also going to take the track cut there as he goes quite narrow over the top. Obviously with that dirty air, he's having a bit of a struggle there. This is Connor Hind. The timing table was glitched. Okay, he's in P11, so yeah, still in P11. He is making his way up the field. Obviously the safety cars helped him quite a bit, but he does have Johnson in front of him, who is obviously going to be a little bit more difficult to overtake, as Johnson is a pretty quick driver. So, okay, so the timing table is just updated, and he's now in P10, so, yeah.
He took Canaro on that straight, yep.
Yeah, exactly. So Connor Hind looking pretty racy here, and especially if that front group sits in that big train like they have been, all just battling each other constantly, he does have a pretty good chance of catching up to them.
Well, this is working really well for Kong there in P1 at the moment, because Stockton's sort of holding this pack up a bit, you know, just playing very defensive, obviously holding on to as best good a position as he can, and that's enabled Kong. He's got 3 seconds already, so the longer this sort of pack here is held up, or they have to keep battling each other, it's all just going to go better and better for Kong. You know, can he hold on for 18 minutes for the win. I'd love to see something like that. It'd be fantastic, but it just depends on how quickly people like Johnson and Hind can all push through this particular pack. But yeah, that's what makes these sort of reverse grid content races really interesting, because it just shakes it up and gives you a little bit more to play for, and you get to see some of these drivers that you don't always get to see. Some of these mid-pack really strong drivers in any other league, but in OOR perhaps not always getting the limelight that they deserve. As we see Stockton going a bit wide, he seems to be struggling with that bus stop.
Yeah, so everyone's bunched up, although they have kind of stayed in their positions, but this is going to leave Stockton very vulnerable over the next few corners, as we see Saxon looking for a move. But if he's not careful here, Ben Piper's just going to drive up right next to him as they make their run down to Eau Rouge. But Saxon's got a good exit there, the Ferrari bogging down a little bit on exit, and he's actually going to clear it by the time they get to Eau Rouge. So now if Saxon can set off and make his way towards Kong, catch him, he does have 4.7 seconds to make, but if he can make that gap and catch him, I'd say he's looking pretty good for the win here. Very close coming down the Kemmel Straight between those cars in front. Ben Piper's going to try have a look, but Stockton's covering it, or he's going to poke the nose down the inside, but kind of eases back out of it. As did the Porsche get past him just there? I think McDowell McDowell actually took his opportunity there and was able to get past, as now Piper's on the back foot. As McDowell tries to go around the outside of Bruxelles again, which I don't think is going to work for him. But yeah, 2x2 in the background as well. That's Pascal Armstrong and Lupti, as well as Johnson, who's right in the back as well. So McDowell's got a good run here, probably going to go up the inside at Pouon on Stockton, which is going to put, maybe Stockton's able to hold it. I didn't quite see what happened, but Stockton's going to be able to hold the P3 for now. But the gap to watch will be the Saxon Hayes Brian Kong gap, because if Saxon can really get his foot down and put together quite a few decent laps, I reckon he's got a pretty good chance. As Stockton again getting a bad run, but McDowell having really nowhere to go, unfortunately, and just still kind of stuck as Stockton keeps defending his position.
Yeah, the Ferrari definitely just no slouch on the straights here, obviously, and he's doing a good job of holding him up where it counts. And you know, like, yeah, we talk about the GTR being quick on the straights, but the thing with the GTR compared to the Ferrari is where the GTR gets its top speed from doesn't really work that well at Spa, whereas the Ferrari is much better at Spa. As we see Dylan go really deep into the bus stop with a lot of confidence in there.
There's contact.
Oh no, there's a bit of contact in the back. I think
Yeah.
was that Johnson was hitting.
Sorry, Johnson.
Was that hitting
Yeah,
Piper?
what am I
Yeah.
saying? Yeah, Johnson.
Oh no. That would be
Piper's
trouble.
gonna
No,
have to
that's
sit there. Yeah, he's
put it away. Put it away. We don't need to see that. That's tragic. Poor Penny Piper there has just been unfortunately spun around there. There wasn't much in that incident. That was just a bit of racing. You know, I'm sure a penalty probably applying to someone there. But yeah, that's just what can happen when you've got these tight battles like this. But yeah, that's put a bit of a damper on Ben and Luke Johnson's days there. But has worked out quite well for Dylan, who did an excellent move, really behind into the bus stop.
Who's making his way through now on the BMW of Ryan Anderson. But yeah, I think there was a bit of a bottleneck there, just caused by lots of people trying to go for moves, and yeah, just it's quite difficult to navigate that chicane. So yeah, unfortunately, I did say Dow, my apologies. My brain stopped working for a second there because I was a bit confused at what I was saying. But yeah, it was Luke Johnson who just tapped the quarter panel of Ben Piper, which I believe is what we're getting a replay of right now. So yeah, I think there was a few moves on here that kind of shuffled everyone around. So Lupti's trying to go around the outside of Piper, McDowell's trying to go around. Piper has to kind of slow down. He's trying to take the cutback line, but unfortunately Johnson just isn't expecting that. Yeah, just kind of turns around. So Stockton's lost his position to Rondinella though here. I don't know if that was as a result of what happened, but we'll have to see. As Pascal Armstrong now is trying to find a way through, as well as Johnson, who's right on the back of these guys. Stockton now starting to bleed those positions. He's doing a good job at holding his position for now, but once the cars start coming, they do just continue coming. It's very hard to get out of that sort of rhythm of going backwards. As Connor Hine uses that opportunity of Luke Johnson's bad exit to get past him. So if Hind can get through this traffic and be released, he's definitely going to put up a challenge. But there's only, oh wow, that's wide from Lele in the background. There's not too many laps of this race left. It's probably only 6 to 7 laps left. So Hind has to make his moves now if he wants to get past. Hind following that inside line. He's going to try follow Stockton through here, or at least get past Armstrong at turn 1 by just sitting on that inside line, getting a good drive and using that forward power to get past the Porsche. Someone's off in the background, wide on the grass. Didn't quite see who that was, but it's definitely a car just went off the track there.
Yeah, we do apologise. It's very hard to keep an eye on everything that's happening. There's just so much going on here as we go up the hill. Stockton losing another position there, going up through original. Oh no, that's gone on in the background. I think he's had to lift it back.
No! Oh wow! Jesus!
Oh no!
Everyone break!
That's gone from
oh,
there's
to more. It's,
oh dear!
It's a yellow flag, people.
Oh,
slow down. Oh my word! That has to be a safety car, surely.
It's
After grid's just been taken out. So I think what happened... Oh no, Luke Johnson's just spun as well. I think what happened there, from what I saw, is Hind had to check up behind Stockton, who had a bit of a moment. And when Hind checked up, he either lost the car or someone got into the back of him, sent him spearing off the track straight into the wall, and then obviously from then on, it's just people piling in.
We are still going green flags. I think that they've decided because of there's not much left in the race and everybody is reasonably bunched up. We're going to get some replays. Alright, so this is the view from Connor Hind, who's following up behind Stockton here. Yeah, Stockton's very slow there. Yeah, Stockton's had to lift or has made a mistake. Connor Hind's on his brakes. He's just a passenger at that point and just gets collected by everybody else, and then everybody else collects everybody else, and yeah, I haven't seen a car park like that since Kyle Army.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. There was massive hits, especially on Connor Hind there, who got absolutely collected. I think from the replay we did see he did get a helping hand from behind in that, so I think the car behind him...
Yeah, I think Johnson gave him a little tap.
Yeah, Johnson obviously not expecting Hind to check up at that part of the track. Obviously it's very quick. As we're on board with Johnson here, so I think Hind also tries to sneak up the inside but has to let off, and yeah, obviously Johnson just doesn't have enough time to react, and yeah, just chaos unfolds behind him.
We go back live pictures again now after recovering from all that. John Stockton has managed to hold on to P6 because of all that chaos behind. He does have Brad Cook behind him now. That was quite an incident. That was definitely what we call on the business.
Ryan,
absolutely just having no care for track limits there at all. As we see, Rondon Ellis received a 10-second penalty at some point there. It's been so much that happens, I've forgotten, but he obviously punted somebody at some point during this race. Stuart's probably very busy at the moment, but it's still doing well on board here with Cook, who's probably
He's going to dispatch Stockton here, going into Brox. It's pretty easy.
Yep.
He's in a pretty good position now, but yeah, there's still a little bit of a gap as there was no safety car called, I don't believe, so he's going to have to make his way up behind Pascal Armstrong, and then there's 5 seconds to Loopdy, so Loopdy's going to drop a decent few positions, I think, possibly out of the top 10 with that 10-second penalty, but yeah, the racing behind is still pretty close. It's Carnero is right on the back of Convoy. This Convoy has a bit of understeer through Huon, which is pretty easy in the Ford to do, as Lele is right on the back of this group as well.
Yep, still plenty to play for, and it's still 8 minutes to go, so there's still plenty of time for these guys to catch up. I think this has definitely given Kong quite a decent bit of breathing room, though. You know, you got to think that either McDowell or Cook is the strongest contenders that he's going to have to deal with, but neither of them, I think, have got the time to make up all these positions.
Yeah, Carnero, there's a lot going on here. Anderson's under attack from Convoy, and Carnero's trying to get past on Convoy at the same time. So yeah, they're very, very close. I think Convoy's going to try and get a move on Anderson here, and Carnero might try to sneak through as well, as Anderson actually holds his line on the inside pretty well. But that Mustang's probably going to get better drive. Yeah, with the help of some rubber banding as well, he's going to get in front of Ryan Anderson, who moves to the inside to cover off Vinny into the first corner. Well, there's a bit of bump there.
Very early turn in there from Vinny.
Yeah, there's a little bit of hip and shoulder on the apex of that corner, but both very heavy cars, so they just kind of bump into each other and keep going. But Bentley's now following very close in this dirty air from the BMW. It's quite difficult to hold on to. Oh, yep, as I don't know if you just there's a car exiting the pits.
Yeah,
so
it's
be very careful. But
GTR
Bentley.
of that's not Lim. It's the third GTR. I can't remember who's that. That is the other one there. But yes, yeah, quite
Bentley
a few cars,
almost,
I think.
Yeah, so the Bentley lost the position there because he had that moment. I don't know if you saw, but the tail started going, and that's happened to me a few times. If you don't take the line perfectly, it will start going at you, and because of that, he's lost the position to Lele, who's now trying to follow Convoy through and get past Ryan Anderson and John Storr. Lele, that was a bit naughty. Kind of opening
No, not too
up
bad.
the
Let's play on. Let's hip and shoulder. Lele's given the position back, if anything.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
fine. Keep going. Play on. A little bit of bumping's okay. A little bit of bumping's okay. Everyone came through that. As watching Convoy try and dispatch John Stockton, who has been a cork in the bottle for so many of these drivers, and it has been the way. Oh, God.
Oh, that's contact.
What?
Contact on the apex, and Stockton has gone spinning off the track, I think. We'll have to watch that again.
I think JC was just, I think he was far enough alongside there that Stockton he deserved a bit more room, and I think there it felt like Stockton turned in early from what we saw, but I'd have to see a replay to be 100% make a call on that, but I felt like Stockton maybe just turned in just a bit too early and should have given more room. I think that Combo was entitled to back there, but Lele's under attack here from Canero. Oh, we're going to get a replay though.
Yeah, we're going to get a replay it. Yeah, oh, no, okay, oh, yep. So this is the Stockton Convoy, what we just had just then. So Convoy makes the move down the inside. Stockton just squeezes him, and I think that one might be a little bit self-inflicted, unfortunately, for Stockton, who was going pretty well, but yeah, Vinny, I think where's he gone? Oh, wait, I think something's happened to Vinny, because he's now behind these guys, so
he's dropping really quick. He's gone down all the way down the leaderboard there, so something's happened while we were not watching.
When we cut to Blanchimont, there's been something happen. So here he is in the 123 Bentley, right on the back of Lele. Now I did notice he did have to brake just earlier because Lele got a really bad run. Oh no, is this going to be outside of Blanchimont or? Oh yep, yep. I've had that. And he's got a helping hand from Johnson as well. So yeah, straight into the barriers. That's happened to me a few times. If you run 6 wing on the Bentley and you turn in a little bit too aggressively at Blanchimont, it does do that, especially if you've got damage or anything like that. So yeah, that is why I run 7 wing, because I like to be able to take Blanchimont without needing a new pair of pants.
Yeah, well, disappointing end for Vinny there. It had such a strong first race, but that's okay. You live and you learn from these things, and it's better to try and not quite make it. But yeah, they'll be disappointed with that. As we see Saxon here actually putting on a challenge. He's been catching up a little bit to Kong here. Kong, there's been about 2 seconds he's gained over sort of the last 10 minutes or so since all of those incidents. So putting on a charge here, Saxon. Yeah, down to 1.4, so maybe on for the win here, Saxon. Dylan seems too far away to make much of a difference. I think nobody else has really got a shot at a win unless something chaotic happens with the amount of time we have left. But still up, the podium's still up for play. Ronalela's unfortunately out of it. But even then, Cook's, still pretty far away. So I think the top 3 is pretty solid. It's just who comes out in the battle between Saxon and Kong, if that eventuates, as we're currently watching the Baby battle here with Lele and Anderson. Anderson's been doing very well here, has held on to this top 10 spot pretty well, had the advantage of a good start, doesn't seem to have got the exit speed. Lele, I think, going to go deep under brakes here on the outside. Will that afford them the better line? No, they've gone too far.
Oh, don't stick the nose up there. Oh no.
Very clumsy there, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is something that you see quite often, drivers going to stick their nose up on that second apex, and yeah, it doesn't work quite a bit of the time as we cut to Raupi, who I'm not sure if he's gone back or forward. He did get collected at the start, I believe. So a bit of an incident for him early on.
Yeah, I've entirely lost track of where people started and where they're finishing now. It's been so many changes of positions all across this race. Just here for the experience now, just to see who comes out on top. And there's just so much racing still going on. I mean, the field's still close together. There's still so many cars all sharing mostly the same piece of track. So we're going with Piper, who is someone who has lost quite a bit in this race, getting turned around at the bus stop, one of the worst places to get turned around. Looks to be making a move here. It'll be on the outside if he can get the nose up enough, but he can't quite get there, and smartly doesn't try and push that point too much, and probably have another go on the
there's a car around
somewhere sooner.
65 has gone round in the background on the entry to Lake Com. And I've also noticed Lele has 30 seconds of penalties. So that is really not going to help Lele's cause there, because I reckon that'll drop him at least to P25 or possibly even more than that. As Piper kind of threatened, but yeah, sorry. And then we see the Porsche just Porsche thing,
same thing as last time.
Or that is not where you want to be stopped. Oh, jeez. Okay, so cars having to avoid that. Yeah, Porsche things, just locking the rear on the entry and goes round on you.
So that battle at the front is still coming together. It's still 1.5, and I believe this will be our final lap, or we might get one more. There's all to play for. It's still on. Saxon can do it. He can make the Germans happy.
Saxon's last lap wasn't, I don't think, what he wanted. He was actually a tenth slower than Kong on that last lap, so I think that was probably the make or break lap there that he needed to complete, because I believe this should be the last lap, considering there's only 45 seconds left on the clock. But yeah, I mean, good effort by drivers in the top three in Hong Kong, who made his way through to the front fairly quick and usually himself to see out. Saxon doing the same as well. And I said, oh my gosh,
Making a mistake.
knows it now. Oh wow. Kong, yeah, big mistake there. If Saxon maybe had not a great last lap, he probably would be right on the back of it now. But as we come through the sector here, the thrust crosses into no name. As long as Kong doesn't have any more of those moments, he should take it with him. Try not to burst him right now, obviously. As the timer ticks down to 0 now. The clock has struck 0, so this will be the final lap for the drivers. And then Kong just has to keep on the road basically. Stack's pushing very hard as we see that Audi coming to look fast, pushing really hard, going out wide, trying to use every millimetre of track he can to pull onto the back of this Ferrari, or at least get into slipstream range for the final corner. The number 2 is yellow flagged on the end of Lake Com, so once the race ends, I think we'll see the result of that. As Saxon runs very wide there to gain the advantage, or I don't know, maybe that was just accidental, but that will put him in the slipstream range running down to bus stop chicane. However, he is still fairly far back. I don't think he's going to be able to pull this off unless he makes a Daniel Ricciardo ascend, and I think it's going to be Brian Kong who comes home to win race 2 of the Thermaltake Sprint Series, round 2 at Spa for split yellow, followed obviously by Saxon and McDowell in the background, closely followed by Rondinella, who has that 10-second penalty, so that'll drop him down about 3 positions, depends where people finish across the line, because the gaps are fairly large. Obviously followed by Pascal Armstrong, Jamie Conboy, Luke Johnson and Lele, who has a lot of naughty time, so he'll get sent right down to the back, and followed by Ryan Anderson, who finishes out our top 10.
Yeah, what a race. It was good to see that the finish there was nice and close there by the end. Just that little mistake from Kong, and that's just so easy to make when you're leading the race like that. And it's he held on to it though, so well done to Kong for sort of navigating that. You know, I mean, circumstances definitely went in his favour. You know, with everyone going there being a few accidents and all that sort of thing, but there's no one who can say you don't deserve that win, because just holding on to that position when you've got all that pressure around you, you've got all this chaos, and I'm sure there's people screaming in the comms chats telling out numbers and stuff like that. Staying focused during all of that is an achievement on its own. So well done to Kong there. Well done to Saxon and Dylan McDowd too, making out our podium. There was a lot of chaos in that race. There was a couple of unfortunate moves, but I think overall everyone did pretty well, considering that, you know, the whole situation and the match of pace was a little bit all over the place. So yeah, well done to everybody. Thoroughly entertaining at the very least.
Yeah, definitely. Well done to Kong, and like Slady said in the YouTube chat, well done to Kong for keeping it together, going over Radeon for 30 minutes straight, because the Ferrari is pretty dodgy over there. We've seen some pretty big accidents with Ferraris losing it. So yeah, well done to Kong for taking out the win for the race number 2. As we take a look at the results in a second.
Green light, go, go, go.
So for race 1, we have Ishan Lele taking out the win, followed by Brad Cook and Joshua Vettiger. For Pro, for Silver, or I guess we're doing, okay, we'll just go to race 2 then. So we got Brian Kong taking out the overall win as a Silver, well done to him, followed by Saxon Hayes and Dylan McDowell 3rd.
Yeah, thoroughly entertaining there. As we probably need to switch across now to the next split and hand over, obviously, to the next comms teams. We've got an amazing crew for you here. We've got to start with the man himself, Mr. Sean Muller. Sean, how are you doing?
I'm very well, Mad Mike. How are you?
Absolutely mad as always. I hope that you guys get as much content as we did in that race. I'm going to sign off. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you to everyone in the community, Thermaltake, all of our sponsors. I look forward to watching the next split, and I leave you in the capable hands of our wonderful team of Sean and Tim.
Thank you very much there, Mike, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Thermaltake Octane Online Racing Sprint Series Split Green. We have this evening, I am Sean Muller, and joining me, as always, is one and only Tim Go. Go, how are you, good friend?
Fantastic. I'm very, very excited. We've got a bit of content in Split Yellow. Let's hope Split Green keeps it up, but at the same time keeps it a bit cleaner. But I'm excited for this one.
Definitely. We are, of course, in the Ardennes. We are at Spa-Francorchamps, famous circuit, tick over 7 kilometres. Some of the most famous corner names in the world, some of the most fearsome corners in the world. It's still a crap track, but that's just me. But the bloke sitting next to me is a big Spa enjoyer, so I might let him chat about it.
Yeah, I'd like to disagree. It is a fantastic circuit. I don't know what you're talking about. I've had some of my best times in ACC at Spa, so thank you very much. I absolutely love this track.
It is a classic circuit. It's got all the sort of characteristics that we do know from that sort of European style old circuit. Of course, it used to be basically a bit of road back in the day. It was quite a long circuit as well, quite fearsome. If you know your history, Mutker is a very famous corner on the old track. As we are looking at G. Coleman here at the moment in the Ferrari, he's out to set of flies, heads down the Camel Straight. Favourite corner, Gobby?
My favorite corner. You know, it's hard with Spa because I love the whole track. Obviously, there's the classic Eau Rouge and Radeon that's always balls to the wall. You're absolutely sending it. But my actual favorite corner, I would have to say probably Piff Paff 1 and 2. Just turn 13 and 14.
There you go, Piff Paff. Oh, wow. Interesting. Or Fangler is it's properly known, but anyway, we'll get into that later. So my favourite corner, it's easy, it's Poo on, and it's not even close. Best corner, actually one of the best corners in the world. As we've got a time at the moment, it is Babby leading the way in the Mustang, of course, 2:16.6, very quick time from G. Coleman, Thurcolini, Damiano here, up there in third at the moment. Mattian, Mags, Godfrey, Barker, Rad, Hislop, and Maddlefoot are 10 at the moment. And qualifying is about to tick over as well. That went super quick. We did start early with qualifying. And it is going to be Babby that will get pole. And that'll be the second race in a row. He started from pole.
Yeah, obviously the Ford is still showing its strength. Well, I'm not saying anything is bad. But he's a great driver, and obviously he makes that car work even with the 19%
Mag.
restrictor. And as we see Mags all of a sudden jumping into P2. Let's see what Giacomin has to respond to that, because he's still on his lap and he's going through Blanchimont right now as he's about to enter the bus stop chicane right now. And let's see, he is currently 2 tenths up, and if he keeps it up this way, he should jump back into P2. So let's see, he keeps it on track, keeps it clean, he doesn't need that much, and he does get P2 back from Mags.
How good is Ferrari TC? Just
Absolutely
works.
broken.
So it is Babby on pole from Giacomin. Mags looking at Damiano, who's currently in fourth at the moment. Having a look at his split here. He's going to find some time. This will be very, very close. Or is he backed out of it? We'll have a look through Blanchimont. It's a great corner in a prototype. This corner is amazing.
Yeah, definitely agree. In these downforce focused cars, it's a fantastic corner. In these big heavy GT3s, however, especially when you're racing right behind someone's bumper, you tend to have pretty massive understeer there. So it's not the most fun thing when you're following someone. However, they still do it pretty easily in clean air.
So Damiano does stay in fourth position there. Wasn't able to improve on his lap. Looking here at John Rad at the moment. He's heading out towards Blanchimont now. Use that whole green part of the circuit, tip the nosing, just clip that apex and don't run it too wide because there is a penalty there waiting for you. And you break it nice straight line into the bus stop, clip the first apex, and then bring it back across. Really use the camber of the road to slow you down as well. Then hard on the gas, make sure you minimise wheel spin. And he punches across the line and stays in ninth position. Well, that's quality.
Yeah, it was a very quick one. Unfortunately, we did not get to see the whole of it due to the nature of these super sprint races. But obviously, we have Glory Babby back in P1, followed by Giacomin, and Mags will take the third spot in quali. As we're now going back through these fantastic liveries that we've seen last week for split green. I really like that Bentley to the left, like we talked about last week, and also that nice, obviously the two Porsche of Damiano, and I think that is Ciuffatelli.
It
on
is
the right side.
Certainly is. A man of class and taste, driving the Porsche, of course. And then there is that.
We've talked about that last week, and we're gonna talk about it again. Completely went under my radar, Mr. Brock Godfrey here. Yeah, I think he's managed a solid P7 as a Pro-Am driver, so he's been putting the practice, and that is a horrifying image.
Whatever that is.
Get it on my screen now.
Well, there's more on the side. I didn't notice. I just saw that. What's that? I don't know.
Absolutely. You know what? The one thing I do like about the livery is that little bunny and a little doggy on each rear panels of the car there. And oh my god, it just gets worse and worse. You look at some different. I'm not sure what that is. I do not want to find out.
That's fantastic.
Absolute disgust.
Ooh, I like that.
Livery.
The black and yellow. Yeah, I like that. That is clean.
Definitely agree with you on that one. The white's a bit hard to read. White and yellow. I found white writing on yellow just a bit hard to read. But apart from that, it's fantastic. And look, we've got a classic Ferrari Formula 1 livery on the 296. How fitting. Hopefully their strategy team is a bit better than the Formula 1 team.
No!
Apart from as we get a few more fantastic.
The Bank Porsche course. Oh, the Intel Lambo, clean, classy. Some real sort of nice race car inspired liveries in this one as well. A couple of mean liveries and a bit of anime or whatever the name they call it. I'm not a fan, it's not my thing, but
it's got specific. You need a specific taste for it. It's not really my thing unless it's really funny and makes no sense at all.
oh yes, Castrol Mustang, hello. Yeah, that's
Castrol
nice.
liveries, they
That's
just look
nice.
good on every car, huh?
They do, yeah. I was saying before, in the chat before, was saying like the Pennzoil livery is another one that just looks great on any car. Oh, that's cool.
It's
that's
a
cool.
wireframe Audi. Like one of the MRT boys driving that one.
So as the field does run away or lead away, super sprint tonight. So 2 30-minute races. Race 2 will be a reverse grid. I believe half the grid is reverse grid, if I'm not mistaken. So that is surely to spice things up. Looks track conditions: 22 ambient, 28 on track, sun everywhere. Looks like we are going to have a super dry race, which is going to be awesome as well. Packed grid. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, hopefully they can keep it clean for Eau Rouge on the first lap, and as long as they manage to do that, should be a pretty clean race. Obviously, there's still descend down into Lake Combe. That's where incidents tend to happen as well if Eau Rouge has stayed clean, because with all these cars going side by side, it does get quite interesting. But if the first lap is clean, it should be a good race.
Oh, I think it's going to be a great race. I think Babby is going to be hard to beat up front. We've seen the Mustang is just so strong here. But G. Coleman, if he can just maybe get it off the line a bit quicker, you never know. He's just got to be thereabouts. And of course, the big Bentley, looking forward to seeing how Mags go. He'll be on a bit of a redemption course after the last opening round. He had a bit of a couple of issues, but I reckon he's going to fire back strong in this one.
Yeah, Babby's going to have to be careful with Giacomo. Although the Ferrari, not exactly the best car on launches either. The Ford with its new restrictor, actually, I've found out, suffers a lot from terrible launches off the line. I'm not sure if it's the restrictor, but it just feels like an Aston at this point. It's just so lazy off the start now. So if Babby's not careful, Giacomo could jump him off the start, but the Ferrari as well, another car that's not so great down low either. So we could see a potential where perhaps Mags even gets to both of them.
Look, that could happen. I mean, don't count out Damiano here. You could just sit there in the back. Look, the Porsche we know is not great in a straight line, but we do know it has almighty braking power. And Damiano, he's got a head on his shoulders, so he'll know where to just sit there and wait. He'll wait for his moment. He might let the three up front just sort of scrap it out. And he just has to wait, and you never know. It's a long 30 minutes. Doesn't sound long, but around Spa, it's long.
Yeah, Spa, one of those tracks. It's a long lap time. It just 30 minutes honestly feels more like an hour, if I'm going to be honest. As then I'll go through the start-finish straight, but that is not where the race is starting. Race starts after turn 1 on Spa, so that's a quite unique feature of this track. I think it's the only track in ACC that does that.
That is, I believe, yeah, that is correct. Of course, this is the F1 start, but we will go around the famous hairpin at the source, and then we will head up towards our Rouge and Radion. Or standard operating procedure here. Make sure you do drive in your pit boxes. Get yourself sorted. It's quite a fearsome sort of view, this. You sort of look up and you go, oh, see our Rouge and Radion, and you know 30-odd GT3 cars are about to be unleashed, and we are green as we go racing for round 2 of split green as they head up through our Rouge and Radion now. And it looks like Babby's held in the lead, but he's got a little bit too much curb there, and Giacomo has definitely got the overlap. Heading down the Camel Straight now, up towards the big stop at Lecom. Giacomo still side by side. Babby's right there though as they break now. Who's braver on the brakes? Babby's positioned the car beautifully, but he's going to be on the outside. Giacomo is pushing this issue. And he sweeps across beautifully, and Giacomo takes the lead, but he's run wide. Holds onto it just. Well, that was a big move. Now the race is on.
Yep, that was a critical move to be done by Giacomo in there. A bit of rubbing there, but they've managed to keep it rather clean this whole race. I do see a few yellow flags at the back, and it appears that there may be a safety car here. It looks like these guys have really slowed down, so there is a safety car called. So it does appear that there has been an incident through the back end of the field there are a bunch of cars completely out of formation. Looks like 4 cars involved in that one.
Yeah, it does look a little bit messy there in the background, but it is Spa safety car. That's why I don't like the track. We'll get into that, but that's one of the reasons I don't like it. But G. Coleman did get the start, which is really crucial, I think, to this race. So we've got ourselves a replay here on the start. Let's have a look here. So in the background now, oh, a little bit of 3 wide action. That never works. Oh, the Audi in the middle. That's the Honda, sorry, that just got squeezed and nowhere to go. Who was in that Honda? Let me just double check that. There's that Oliver. It is Oliver. Yep. In the Honda. So unfortunately, yeah, into Lacom, 3 into 1 doesn't go.
Yep, you're definitely correct about that one. Like you said, it's and then just this Lamborghini just
Oh no!
honestly on the brakes, and this is probably why the
dear,
safety
dear.
car was called
Yep.
right here. So I think that Lambo driver is going to get a bit of a slap for that one. He should have held brakes, but looks like they probably panicked. You know, it happens to all of us. We forget to hold brakes. That's one of the most crucial things you should do if you're involved in a wreck, is as soon as you can. And sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. If you're on grass, you hold brakes. It's not gonna do anything. But you should just instinctively just get on your brakes, hold your brakes, and avoid more chaos as they're back on the safety car restart. Jacobin looking like, no, that is Babby, looking like getting a much better launch than Mags. Jacobin's going to...
He's gapped him.
Yeah, it's completely gapped him, and that's exactly what he needs to do, especially with a Ford behind him. You know, you do not want a Ford in your slipstream. Sure, it's got a 90% restrictor, but it's still a really strong car down the straight. But as I say, that the Ferrari as well in the top end is another one of those cars that is also really strong, as we're now on board with Abdul Mateen in the McLaren, getting into the slipstream of John Hislop. It's going to look around the inside, and as we see, that is the weakness of the Porsche, is it doesn't have much top end. However, you know, it does have good acceleration. But
it has braking power.
yes, exactly. That is exactly.
Oh, look at this, it's 3 wide.
Looking like that Ferrari was just very ambitious to get past, and now he's under threat from the McLaren of Godfrey, and he does go very wide there at Brussels, but manages to keep it ahead of that McLaren.
Very spicy back here. This is good racing. Mateen having another strong one. He showed in round 1 that he is a very quick operator, and he's working on the back here of Hislop. And that McLaren just looks really strong, especially in the mid-corner of the fast corners like Pouon. Getting up towards Piff Paff now. I don't know why it's called Piff Paff. It's such a silly name.
It's a funny name, as we do see McLeod, number 8. I think that was the Lamborghini, getting a drive-through penalty for what I'm guessing is not holding brakes, and basically an unsafe rejoin. Wasn't really a rejoin, he just crossed the track, and we just see a car spinning. I don't think that's Mateen. I'm pretty sure there is.
It's his teammate.
It's his teammate, yeah. But back to McLeod, it does get a drive-through penalty, and unfortunately at Spa, being one of the longest pit lanes in ACC, that's pretty much his race. I want to say over, but you know, anything could still happen. But with a drive-through penalty in this pit, I think it's like over a minute to go through the pit, so it is a very, very painful penalty to get on this track.
We're back with our battle up front. It is J. Comer leading away half a second to the good from Babby. This is going to be an intriguing battle to watch, because we know the Mustang's got all the horsepower in the world. Look at it up through our Rouge and Radion. It's just chomping our time. J. Comer's going to have to get the elbows out big time here, because Babby smells blood. Ford versus Ferrari. Echoes of the 60s back at Le Mans. Down the Kemmel Straight now. Babby side by side. Has he got the braking power? He's going to try and send it around the outside at Lacombe. That's a brave move, but he's going to get that done. That is a fantastic move. Well done, Babby. And that is move of the race so far. And he gets that done. That is now going to put him into the lead. And now, can he drive away? Has G. Comer got something in the kit bag for him? What a fantastic exchange.
these drivers at the front really showing fantastic sportsmanship. You know, they're squeezing each other, but just not quite to the point where it would impede the other car. They're racing hard, but also racing fairly, and that's exactly what we're about here at OOR. That's exactly what we like to see, and that was a fantastic move from Glory Babby himself in the big Ford Mustang, which now takes the lead of the race.
So that's going to be interesting to keep an eye on those lap times over the next couple of laps. See if G. Coleman actually can hang with him. As we're on board here with John Hislop looking back here at Mateen, and Barker's just lurking there in the background in the Milwaukee Ferrari. Oh, Hislop, you don't want to do that too many times. That normally comes with an invoice. That's another thing about Spa as well. The track limits are brutal around here. Yep, there's another one.
I think it was still on track there. It looked like his. As long as your wheels are. Yeah, it was definitely very, very, very close. But I think if your wheels are still on that curb, you should be fine. But yeah, that's another crucial corner. Stavalo too, especially since it goes straight down the longest straight on the track. I think that's the longest, well, quote unquote straight. It's not straight, but it's foot flat until the chicane. But if you get Stavalo 2 wrong and you have to lift, you just lose so much down the straight. And if there's a car behind you that gets it right, that's pretty much position lost to you. But so far, so good for John Hislop, as he does still manage to stay ahead of Mateen. But Mateen, hungry for that position, really staying close to that Porsche. And now he's in a bit of trouble, as he is well within that slipstream of that Porsche, and we all know the Porsche down the straight, not the greatest car. However, on the brakes, very good, as we've seen earlier, but it doesn't look like. In fact, it looks like he's done a bit of a mistake going up Eau Rouge for Radillon, and it's looking like so far Mateen is going to be able to get a position, but Chouf has taken the inside, and Mateen's going to have to go around the outside, and we've both seen before how good the brakes on that Porsche is, and it's looking like Chouf actually manages to hold the position, even with that mistake up Eau Rouge.
Oh, Mateen, yeah, just got his timing wrong up through Rouge and Radillon, and just caught him out a little bit. He just had to get out of the throttle, and that's all he needs, and you lose all that momentum down Camel to head down in through one of my favourite corners, Ravage. They plunge through No Name and then down towards Pouham. Fantastic corner, this one. Double apex fourth gear, carrying 190 kilometres, 200 kilometres towards the exit. The old saying goes, if you're around 220 kilometres right there at the edge of that rookie strip, you are flying through Pouham and you're on a quick lap, as Aiden Squires picks up a 10-second penalty for a collision on lap 3. And this is a great battle here between Hislop, Mateen, Barker. Just looks like in the background, Godfrey's just starting to close up as well, so we're starting to get into a bit of a four-way fight here. And there's actually a bit of a train sort of forming up here behind Hislop, so the Porsche doing Porsche things, holding everyone up, but that's what the Porsche does, in a good way.
Holding everyone up, but he's also giving us a bit of a defensive masterclass here,
Yes.
Chouf. You know, he does not have the straight line speed, but he does know the advantages of his car. He knows exactly what to do with the Porsche to defend in that car, and he's just showing us how it's done. Even if the driver behind you might have a bit more pace, that pace doesn't really mean anything if you can't get around the car in front, and Chouf is showing that to us precisely why he is a silver class driver, and potentially why he's in P5.
Definitely, as Mags pops in the fast lap as well, 217.3. That is fair motoring. And the big bad Bentley still sitting in third, just a little bit off G. Coleman and Babby now. But we have seen Mags, we haven't actually seen him out in proper clean air, so this is going to be a really good watch, especially with the season, bit of a long season, so something to keep an eye on as we're back at this fantastic battle now. On board with Chouf. And we've got Mateen, just pulls out of the slipstream, shows the nose. Oh, he does the double Dutch showing the nose. But as you can see, Hislop just placing the Porsche absolutely perfectly. That is the one thing the Porsche is really nice around here. If you can just, it's not the quickest, but it does drive on the line very nicely. As you can see, just got to place in the right spot and then use that power down and say bye. Now through No Name. Ooh, a little bit understeer there. Now out through. Oh, Barker's going to have a bit of a sniff in the pool, and this is brave. You've really got to... Oh, he's going to go for
That is
it!
very brave.
That is a
In
touch.
fact, I think he does push him off, and that is not what you want to happen. But Mateen does very well, keeping it on 4 wheels and not sliding out there. But unfortunately, he has lost 2 positions due to it. But I wouldn't be surprised if the stewards have something to say about that one.
The very difficult corner to make a pass on, because you're actually entering the corner at nearly 180, 190 kilometers an hour. So it's pretty wild. Here we go. We've got ourselves a replay here. So Barker gets a good exit out of No Name, but he's still a long way behind. Ooh. That'll be interesting.
That's interesting, because Mateen looks like he just braked slightly early, and Barker did manage to get side by side before they actually started turning in. So actually, there is a chance he will get away from this one. But yeah, Pouon, like you said earlier, very, very ballsy corner to try and make a pass. And all these drivers, especially at the caliber they're driving, they're always on the limit of their cars. And when you're at the limit on Pouon anymore, and you actually end up sliding out, so any bit of contact can be disastrous for these drivers on that specific corner. But this time round, they both got lucky. They both managed to get around. Yes, Mateen did go off track, but at least he didn't go spinning into the wall. So that was that.
Certainly, definitely that was that. And you need to keep your cool through there. You know what it is? It does keep you cool. Thermaltake fans. And a big thank you does go to Thermaltake, our fantastic sponsor on board for the Sprint Series this season. And they have got some wonderful stuff you're in the market for. A computer case, or they've got some sim gear there. They've got actual fully pre-built PCs as well. They've got everything. So definitely pop onto their website at thermaltake.com.au. And if you're an OOR member, you'll get a cheeky 10% off, which is very exciting. All the details are in our Discord, so make sure you check that out. And once again, big thank you to Thermaltake.
They've got a fantastic looking wheel. You know, if you're moving from these belt driven or gear driven wheels, obviously Thermaltake is there for you. They've got a direct drive wheel, 6 Newton meters actually, for a good price for entry level. Don't quite remember the price. Or if you manage to win the Sprint Series, you could get that wheel for free. So that's very much thanks to Thermaltake. Fantastic sponsor to have on board.
Or you could just be Mike Crick and rig the draw.
We both saw that. How good was that?
Unbelievable. I think there's going to have to be some investigations into that.
I surely hope not. As we're now looking at Brock Godfrey, that I don't want to look at the livery, but I have to look at it. I have to. This is not, as we all know actually, if you guys do know Brock Godfrey, this is the first time, at least the first time I have not drive the Honda, has decided to take the McLaren this time round. So I get why he's picked that team name. Actually,
but
he killed the Honda.
Does make sense, of course, McLaren Honda back in the day, so I see what he's done. Very clever. This is a bit of a McLaren train at the moment, so we've got Mateen, Rad and Godfrey as we've got ourselves a replay here on board. Now, what's that Hislop? Oh, a little bit wide there, Pouon. That just opened the door, and Barker says, thank you very much, I'll be having some of that. And that was easy as you like. Oh, it always worries me when the McLaren takes that bump.
It looked like it did not stabilize the car there, but that's exactly what we're talking about at Pouon earlier, where if you just push that little bit too much, it just unsettles the car and makes the car go wide, and you end up sliding all over the place and losing a lot of pace. And Barker, seeing the opportunity, instantly goes around the inside of Hislop, as we see Aiden Squires getting another penalty for a collision on lap 6. So Aiden Squires not having the best race. He now has a 25-second penalty that is going to hit hard at the end of the race, but the best thing he can do is motor on and try to build a gap to the cars behind.
Exactly. This is a great battle. This is this is fantastic. 3 McLarens absolutely throwing down. And don't count out Sinakis there in the 277, cheeky little lamb in the top 10. So that's a great drive. As we are looking at a Honda here, I normally know what happens here. Yep, Honda things.
Oh, he does hit the wall a little bit there, but most of that he did manage to hit it too hard at least. But yeah, that's just oh, yeah,
Honda
like you
things.
said, Honda things exactly, and potentially Ferrari things if that does happen. I hope it doesn't happen to any of these drivers. But Ferrari, another notorious car, on top of Radeon, just bounces and just all of a sudden you're into the wall.
As we are on board here with George, currently in 10th position. This is a great drive. To be 10th position in a sprint race as an AM is an absolutely fantastic drive, and he is there on pace alone, ladies and gentlemen. So really awesome drive so far, and he's just starting to sneak up to the back of that Godfrey, Mateen and Rad battle. So four-way fight, he can make some moves, and of course with the reverse grid for the top half of the field in the next race, that is not confusing at all. Yeah, who knows what can happen in race 2.
I'd like to calm your horses down a little bit, although it is a fantastic drive, don't get me wrong. Sakanius is not an AM driver. I think that's ACC that's set wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's either
Don't let
Pro-Am or...
facts get in the way of a good story.
I'm sorry. But that is still a fantastic achievement. The top 10 in a sprint race is always very good to have. And having been behind Sakanius before, if you end up being behind that BMW, you're not getting back around him. He's just a fantastic defensive driver. Another one of those very good drivers when it comes to defense. So these guys need to be careful, because if he does see the opportunity to get around, he will go around, and then once you're stuck behind him, there's no going back around him. And it does go a bit wide around No Name, as we're back with Mateen and going back around the pool. Far so good with that train. No, the gaps are building a little bit. Looks like the drivers are calming down, or perhaps the tires are starting to give out a little bit.
Yeah, Spa is can be a bit of a tyre killer. It's got a lot of long load, high speed corners as Oliver picks up a 15-second penalty for an unsafe rejoin on lap 7. Just having a look here at some other good result. Manifest's having another strong performance there in 11th. Bank down in 14th, a little bit lower than he was last week, but still a very solid drive. As we're looking here at Mandelford in 11th, he's got Wildfree right behind him in the Ferrari. So these two sort of close last round, so they're starting to find each other each race. It's always nice when you sort of find someone around your pace, someone to race with. And that beautiful black and yellow McLaren, geez, that's striking. So we're back on board here with Godfrey, and this train is just starting to develop nicely now. Just starting to spice up. Is Hislop coming back to him a little bit? That's the thing. And Barker's just looks like he's not pulling away as much as I thought either. This is really shaping up to be a bit of a fight. We've got 10 minutes remaining in race 1. And you are watching, of course, the Thermaltake OOR Sprint Series Split Green from Spa Financial Shop. And I am Sean Muller, and joining me is the one and only Tim Go. And good night of racing so far.
Very fantastic racing we're seeing so far. Like you said, obviously we have 2 super sprint races coming up ahead. Top half of the finishers end up in the reverse grid, and the bottom half will have to go around for quali again. Unsure how many drivers there are. I did not count, knowing me. But so far, very, very good racing. We have seen a couple incidents at the start, couple heartbreaks here and there. But most of the time, it's been good racing, as we see Godfrey closing the gap ever so slightly to Hislop. I'm always trying to call him Ciuffatelli. Well, you and me are both good friends with him, and I normally call him Ciuffatelli. So I see him. The first thing I want to call him is Ciuffatelli, but no, I have to call him Hislop for the OR stream. But it's looking like Brock Godfrey actually managing to very, very slowly close the gap, as there is 9.5 minutes left of this race. One thing that really starting to struggle on tires. I'm expecting these drivers for 30-minute races, perhaps using quali setups, some of them, because it is such a short race, and get a couple tenths just by running a quali setup. So I'm wondering if any of these guys are saying, you know what, 30-minute race, I don't really care about tire wear, I want to go as fast as possible. So that's definitely a possibility here.
Yeah, it is a possibility. I mean, as we know, quali setups do use the tyre a bit more. You know, max camber, you just basically min-max everything out and absolutely send it. But yeah, about this time they might be starting to feel a little second hand as we head into the bus stop now with Godfrey. Of course, one of the recent, the most recent changes, I think, the bus stop. So, of course, used to go the other way back in the day. Of course, plenty of history around this place. I've done a 24-hour race around here myself, and it was fun, enjoyed it, ticked it off the bucket list, never doing it again.
It's not a bad track. It's fun to drive around. There's
Yes.
good overtaking opportunities, but as we see now, Mateen has the slipstream of Godfrey, but they're both in McLaren, so this could turn out to be very interesting. Let's see what Godfrey does with his defensive move. He has one move. He decides to hold the middle of the track. That makes it much harder for Mateen and gives Mateen a decision. Do I want to go inside? Do I want to go outside? But so far, Godfrey managed to stay ahead a bit later on the brakes.
Oh, do you see that Godfrey was on the lock stops then? Like, there was nothing left in that braking of that McLaren.
Any more, he would have probably gone off track there. Mateen would have taken a position, but that is pinpoint where you want to brake, and he does manage to hold off the pink and gray McLaren. How long will he be able to hold him off as Mateen really is on his rear bumper, looking around the inside of Pouin, perhaps trying to scare Godfrey a little bit into a mistake at Pouin. But Godfrey not flinching, keeping it on four wheels on the track, and in fact, looking like he's managed to pull away a little bit, giving himself a bit more breathing room. What Godfrey really needs actually is J-Rad giving the pressure to Mateen, so Mateen will have to think about defending J-Rad himself, but just that little bit too far back for him to be a concern to Mateen. But if he can close the gap, then Mateen will have to think, do I want to go for the overtake? But at the same time, there's J-Rad behind me. So it could get interesting in these closing stages of race one.
Very interesting. And we've noticed one thing with Mateen now is he's very good under brakes. He's got really strong braking. He can just brake the McLaren so late, but Godfrey's been around the bush a couple of times. He's seen all the tricks. He knows all the tricks. It's going to be a fascinating battle. We've got ourselves a replay here. This is the Intel Lamborghini. This is the number 8. Is this a moment at... Oh, that's Lamborghini. Oh, ouch. That's expensive.
Well, I'm not sure what happened there. I thought the Lamborghini... I'm not a Lamborghini driver. I've never driven the car. I'm not no interest in driving the car. Wondering if that was perhaps a TC0 moment. Because I know some people going up Eau Rouge, they do tend to turn off the TC, to make sure it doesn't kick in as you go up the massive hill that is Eau Rouge and Radillon. And there's been a couple instances of perhaps me forgetting to turn it off into the next coming corners, and you press on the gas, and all of a sudden, you know what? Traction is left to chat.
That is the one great thing that I do not do, because driving is just hard enough. Yeah, I can't. Some of these drivers that switch TC and ABS and that through each corner and that, it astounds me how they do it. As we got 5 minutes remaining here, Godfrey's holding off this pressure really well, but his slop's just not getting away there. He's just hanging on as well, so I still think this fight is well and truly on between these four drivers here. As we are looking at Hislop here in that absolutely stunning Porsche. That looks beautiful. Sounds glorious as well. And he is in a very strong 6th position. Top silver driver. And leading the way is Matterford in 10th is our 2nd silver driver. Of course, he is back. Long time driver. He is back. Haven't seen him around for a while, but it's good to see him back. And I expect, him to move up the leaderboard, I reckon, pretty quickly as he gets back up to speed. So it is Babby leading the way from Giacomin, Mags, Thurcolini, Barker, Hislop, Godfrey, Mateen, Rad and Matterford are your 10 at the moment, with Wafrey and Bank just sitting outside. As we're looking at our leader here, Gloria Babby leading the way in the Penrite Racing Mustang, doing it quite comfortably now, 4.6 seconds to the good, got himself the fastest lap as well. As we're back now with this absolutely fantastic fight between Godfrey and Mateen. This has been going on the whole race. And Mateen looks like he's going to make a move, but then just Godfrey knows where to position the McLaren, makes it very difficult. And also being in the same car makes it extremely difficult. So he's going to have to get creative. With 3 minutes 50 remaining, going to have to get very creative.
I'm wondering if he's going to try and take the position from him, but at the same time, yes, they are fighting, they're in the same class, but if Mateen stays behind Godfrey, as he goes very wide and actually off the track there, he will start in front of Godfrey if he stays behind Godfrey, but it looks like he, apart from going wide, he has a very good run on that McLaren, just not quite far alongside enough, and let's see if Godfrey manages to brake in time this time, and he still manages to keep it on under brakes and still stays ahead of Mateen. So Godfrey making it very, very hard for Mateen to get around. We've seen Mateen does have pace, but he's just struggling to get past the interesting looking McLaren, I will say.
Yeah, it's so difficult at Spa. You've just got to put it on the line, and it's so hard to pass. Interesting point there, Sir Heck in chat saying that Spa makes good GT racing, but poor F1 racing. Yeah, it's a fair point. I think Spa's the best for prototype racing, personally. It's amazing in prototypes. GT racing, I just find a bit boring. That's just me personally. I know it's the best GT3 in the race in the world in IRL. So, yeah, I can see the plus and minuses of the track, but I'm just not a fan. We've got ourselves a replay here, and it says Rad. I believe it is Rad heading into Puon. Oh, big slide, huge slide. Oh, but Rad just catches it nicely there. Nice little bit of car control. Pretty easy to do in the McLaren. It's so easy to slide.
Yeah, it looks like, again, pushing a bit too hard, and unfortunately it's cost him a lot of time to Mateen, but luckily for him, he does manage to stay ahead of Battleford. However, now Battleford's a lot closer to Brad than he was before, so could see something interesting happening back there now, but if he is close enough, here we go. We see Battleford right on the rear bumper of Brad now, so that's gonna be, I think, yeah, one more lap to go. Well, no, this is the final lap. Apologies. As we get another replay of another McLaren, that looks like, wow, it looks like he just oversteered on exit of Puon there.
Yeah, easy to do.
Very, very easy to do.
We've all done it. As we're back with this battle, Godfrey is holding on, and he's actually gapped at Mateen just enough here, so the slipstream is not going to be of an effect here, so he can brake nice and straight into their comp and clip his apexes, and then as he heads off now down towards the most famous part of the track, I reckon personally, in terms of viewing, it is Rivage. There is plenty of arguments about what the corner is called. I'm old school, it is Rivage, and that is the end of the argument. Actually, this corner though, in the wet, is absolutely horrible, by the by. As go through No Name now. What do you reckon? Does Mateen just maybe sit back and hold this position, or does he go for it? Just got a replay here.
Just safer options, and yeah, we look at, and it is the Ferrari, and that is
Ferrari.
Absolutely Ferrari thing at radio. I've said it earlier, we may see a Ferrari go off there, and unfortunately it's the Scuderia Ferrari going off there. That is very unfortunate for, I think that was Wafri, if I remember correctly. I don't remember.
Wafri.
Yeah, it was Wafri. You see that Ferrari driver going back to pits, but absolutely slammed the wall there.
That was a hard hit. I hope he's okay if he's got a direct rival all of a sudden, because that was a hard hit. As
That was
Babby
a
will,
very hard hit.
will cross the line and take the victory in race one from Giacomin. Third position will be Mags. Great drive from Mags. Fourth position will be Damiano here. Great drive from Damiano. Fantastic. Fifth position will be Barker. And then this awesome battle between Hislop, Godfrey, Mateen and Rad, with Maddleford rounding out the 10. And then it'll be Bishop and Underwood. So looking back here at Smain, oh no, is that the one that...
No, it's a different one.
No, it's a different one. It's
different.
Ferraris everywhere. looking back here at Squires at the moment, who is carrying a 25-second invoice. So that will push him down the order. So we won't know our pole position person for a little bit, but that's okay. We can all guess and speculate. But it will be Babby that takes the victory. Great drive from Babby. Really wasn't headed. Once you did get past Giacomin, he sort of just cruised off into the distance. And then Mags and Thircolini, pretty solid drives in terms of results, but didn't really have any sort of anything to do really in the race. They just drove their races. Bark had a couple little moments there. Hislop, Godfrey and Mateen, definitely the race. But driver of that race, I'm going to give to Hislop, actually.
Honestly, Hislop just did show us some defensive masterclass, and he defended just long enough until to the point that the cars behind actually got into trouble themselves, and they end up battling amongst themselves, giving Hislop just a little bit of breathing room to just slightly get ahead and not worry about them anymore. So definitely agree, Hislop definitely a contender for driver of race 1 at least.
So it is the top 14 that will be reverse grid. So I think, is that, can't see there. We'll double check that. Just to make sure we got that correct. Look at that shot. Isn't that a nice shot?
It's top 14. Who was top 14? I would like to know. Please move over there. I want to know who would fall from the race.
Big everyone is enjoying Wednesday evening. Watching the Thermaltake Sprint Series split green, because tonight we do have the great GT4 and of course the best runner and the short race from Miami. That's got a lot of fun on about 5 laps. Should be right. And of course the one and only Slip will be following that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you tune in all out there. As ACC, obviously, the ACC things, do not speech. Thank you.
Finally, we start to roll over to the next session. Get to see our results for race 1. As the bottom half of the drivers go out for their qualifying session.
Sakani is here.
So unfortunately did not manage to get. I thought the Canias were much harder, so higher. So yeah. So in pole position. Oh my God! It's our boss herself, Blake Griffiths, in P14. Will take pole position for race 2. But the results of race 1 in P1 will be Glory Babby, like you said earlier. P2 Giacomin and P2 will be Mags. The winners of silver P1 for race 1 will be Jonathan Hislop himself, followed by Matterford and Bishop. And in Pro-Am will be Brock Godfrey, just holds off Mateen in P2, and J-Rag will take the 3rd spot on the podium for that class in AM class, and I don't think that's right. It's Rob Underwood, followed by Mahiswara and Callum Lloyd, but I suspect that there is something wrong with the classification for this split at least, so do not listen to what I just said, because it's probably wrong.
Facts means nothing. As we are looking at Scani's here. So race 2, we did see in the earlier split that race 2 things just got a little bit more spicy. So normally with these super sprint races, it's normally the way it goes. You know, race 1's normally everyone just dips the toe in the water, just sees what the temperature is, and then race 2 it's completely throw the toys out of the cot and send it.
Yeah, we'll see how good some of these drivers are going to be at the front, how good they are at defending, and how good the faster drivers are at passing around other cars, see if they can make their moves around, because obviously with the reverse grid, it's actually the slower driver that starts in front, and the older pros actually end up being at the back. And it's always exciting seeing the pros trying to get around, and actually the slower underdogs trying their best to hold them off. It makes for actually some very, very entertaining racing, but also it can also be a recipe for disaster. But let's just cross our fingers here and that these drivers keep it clean.
So we are on board with Scanny says we head up through Eau Rouge and Radion. Look at the maximum attack there, taking all the curb. Now we head down towards the super long Kemmel Straight. This is where you can have a bit of a think, look around. If you want to jump on the grass and warm your tyres or cool your tyres, as you brake nice and hard now into Lecom. Clip both apexes absolutely perfectly. Now heading up towards Malmedy. Great corner this one, really tricky in the wet. And then you want to get it nice and straight and possible because you've got to set yourself up for a rivage. Now break it nice and deep into the apex. Let the car just understeer a little bit, then bring the nose back around. Good traction outside here because you've got to set up for no name. Clip the apex again. Don't run it too wide because you will get a penalty there. Now, another thinking spot as you head into Puan. Break it, fourth gear, clip the apex, 170 kilometers an hour, run it out a little bit right, then bring the car back in and let it drift out. 220 at the ripple strip. Perfect there from Saganius, looking really good now. And now through Piff Path. Just want to use the road here. It's really important. Just let the road use the car. And just let the track come to you. Now we break nice and deep into Stavelate. Then run it out wide again and then pull for air. Now, really interesting. Some cars you lift, some cars you can do flat. Then use the whole track again. Another break, another breath. Have a look at your roll bar or have a look at your brake bias. Make sure everything's all right as you're going to set yourself up now for Blanchemont, the hero corner of the track. Tip it in flat the whole way. And again, now you look for the white line on the road and that's sort of your braking marker for the bus stop. Clip the apex, use the road to slow the car down for the second part of the bus stop. And that is a lap of, seriously, when you get it right, it is a very rewarding lap. And a 2:18.1, that's a nice lap there from Scanius as well. Just pops that in out of nowhere. Glad we're on board for that. As Wafree now, who had a bit of a moment in race one. Is he going to pop up to the top of the leaderboard as Scanius leading the way at the moment? What's Wafree got? Stays 11, so he must be it now. He starts his flyer. Good work, idiot. Watch the timing screen. 4 minutes remaining. Oh, there's Gamble in the 24. Legend already. We'll put him on top step of the podium. I think my co-commentator. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, why not?
I was thinking about how to reply to that. That was just fantastic commentary for you. That on board with Sacanius just completely locked me in. I just wanted to keep listening. And I realized, oh wait, I have to commentate as well. As we're Eden Squires, obviously we saw Eden Squires get that 25-second penalty, so they're in for their qualifying session, and they're out with a 17.4. And wouldn't be surprised if they get the quote-unquote pole position. We all know that it's not pole position for this race. It's going to be.
Let's not just spoil it off just yet. There's 4 minutes remaining.
There's 4 minutes remaining. I'm just a bit realistic, Sean.
Oh, see, you and your facts. Seriously, we're going to have a conversation about this. As we look at Azul here, who's 0.6 up on his time. So this is a really good lap so far. As he comes through Piff Paff now. Love that shot. Great shot. You can really see a GT3 car work its arrow. Ooh, a little bit squirrely on the brakes there into Stavelo. Now through Paul Ferrer. Again, the McLaren. Ooh, that's risky to do in the McLaren. I know it doesn't like that very much. So, but now up towards Blanchemont, where the McLaren does feel a bit hero-y. It feels like you do feel a bit like a superstar. Oh, look at that. Like, look at that. That is just glorious. Deep into the bus stop, 0.7 up. So this is definitely going to move up the leaderboard. Oh, maybe catches a little bit too much curb there at the bus stop, but it definitely gets a lovely exit though. Nearly a second up on his best time. And that's up into 5th position, so a very nice lap.
Very nice lap indeed from... forgot who that was. As we're not back with free, let's hope this one is valid this time. We saw his last lap was invalid, and unfortunately for free, it is another invalid lap. He'll have 2 more goes at it if I'm reading the time correctly, as we're back with Aiden Squires currently 0.2 up. Let's see if he gets a good exit out of the bus stop here. He does get pretty much an equal exit to what he got before. In fact, it's a bit worse, but that will put him up to a 217.3. That is very quick. But gotta keep an eye out for someone like Danny Vu. Danny Vu's not too far behind, but we're now looking at Oliver, currently 0.2 up. They're currently sitting on a 218.5, so they're most likely going to want to get a bit higher up the grid, but they do lose a lot of time here at Lecombe, sorry, as we're now going around Brussels. He does gain a lot of times around Brussels, so perhaps his last lap wasn't as good, but he does not get a good exit here into No Name. But he so he must have not had a great lap, because he's finding time, losing time, finding time, so perhaps a bit of a squirrely lap. Wouldn't be surprised coming from the Honda, out of all the cars, to get a squirrely lap, and this is probably the one I'd be looking at.
Just turned in there a poo on, and the Honda said, no, I'm not doing that.
It is definitely a very, very challenging car to drive, and I respect everyone that put themselves up to the pain of driving the car. Perhaps some people enjoy it, you know, who am I to judge? I don't like it, perhaps someone else likes it. As we're back with Azul, he's currently 0.25 up, and that's...
This has been a very good qualifying session here from Azul. It's always good when you can, he's finding time everywhere here.
He's just got one more obstacle, that is the bus stop chicane. It either makes or break your lap as he goes around the first part of it. And in fact, he's finding a lot of time here, so he must have had a terrible bus stop chicane the lap before. Perhaps not the exit he wanted, but that's still 3/10 up, and that's going to be good enough to put him up to P4, just behind Sicanius.
Good lap, very good lap.
See, Backwood Free does go a bit deep in bus stop, but it has shown. If he does manage to make this one stick, hopefully it's going to be a valid, and it's going to be a 2:19.1 for Free. We can see he does still have a lot of time. They did not have the greatest bus stop, but here we go. We're on board with Danny Vu, or should I say spectating Danny Vu, and he's finding a lot of time. He's currently almost 3/10 up as he's on the exit of Stavelo 2, and in fact does find a lot of time on the exit as he goes down towards the Blanchimont. The Porsche, another superstar car around the Blanchimont, if I say so myself. In fact, probably the prettiest car in ACC. What am I to say? Probably prettiest. It is the prettiest car as he now goes around through the bus stop chicane and does find a lot of time on entry. And it's going to be very close for Danny Vu here against Aiden Squires. He does not get the exit he wants, and unfortunately he loses it all on the exit, but it's still going to be a 17, and it's going to be a 17.9 for Danny Vu.
It's a good lap there from Danny Vu. One of the absolute nice guys in OLR, as we are back here with Squires, as looking, back with Simeon now, who's 0.4 up. So it's heading up towards our Blanchimont. And the Ferrari, just look at that, 258 kilometres, not even a tickle of the throttle. And then nice and straight. And this is where the Ferrari can be super strong. Not here, right about here. TC goes, yep, rocket ship. Ooh, that was a little wide there on the exit, costing quite a bit of time. And that will remain third. Back with Squires down the big bad Bentley.
Oh, he does. He honestly doesn't need to improve. In fact, he's probably showing off now. He's got a P1 by 6/10. Although Danny Vu did give him a run for his money. Danny Vu was at one point.
16. He wants 16.
He wanted 16, but he goes a bit wide there. But still a lot of time to find. Oh, he's really fighting the Bentley now. Really facing a lot of oversteer, looking like he has a lot of very oversteery setup on the Bentley, and unfortunately it has cost him a bit of time. He does have the bus stop chicane to go through again. Let's see if he can find time there in the big boat. Oh yeah, he's going to have to save it.
Oh, that was huge.
That is Blanchimont when it doesn't go right. Luckily for him, he does manage to keep it on track. That does find a bit of time here at the bus stop. In fact, he finds a lot of time, but let's see if he finds an exit. And in fact, he does find an exit, but unfortunately, it's not going to be enough for an 18. It's going to be a 2:17.1. It's still a flying lap from Aiden Squires here. And that was quali 2 done.
It was. That was quite exciting at the end there, but that is quality 2 done. So race 2 now, and this is the interesting one. So top 14 are going to be reverse gridded. And then, of course, it's going to be Squires that will be out of 15th. As we're looking at there, Danny Vu's Porsche, man of taste and class. Sanak, George's BMW.
I like how you tried to pronounce his last name.
You know what? I'll just go with George. George is much easier. Some lovely looking there is. So big shout out, of course. Just want to give a quick shout out to a couple of awesome group of people. Our awesome stewarding team, legends as always. It is the toughest job in OR, and they do an amazing job. We couldn't go racing without them. Of course, our awesome race directors as well. You guys are legends. And of course, the one and only Benjamin Hignett, who is the man bringing you all the pictures that you see at the moment. He's actually got a new Discord stream thing going at the moment, and it is really cool. We get 3 screens so we can see stuff coming up, and when he's queuing replays, feel like a real proper pro in here. It's it's pretty nice in here now.
It's very, very nice indeed. Let's see what this race has to
pointing
offer.
to the sky. Is it just me?
That's when they're the setup page. When they're doing their setup, all these cars. Like, you see the McLaren on the left as well. He's pointing up.
Yeah, I know. But look at the Bentley. It just looks higher than everything else.
That's just a signature of the boat, all right? It's a big car. It's going to look glorious when they're doing their setups. The mechanics have lifted the car, perhaps adjusting camber, changing their tires, who knows? But that car is just a glorious looking race car, and it's a shame it doesn't race IRL anymore.
You sound really heartbroken with that.
It's a beautiful car. It's a beautiful, beautiful car, and it's always fantastic. You see all these other cars, the Porsches, the Ferraris, the McLarens, all these supercars, and then you've got something like a big Bentley, which is supposed to be more of a luxurious, someone else drives you in it or you drive it. It's a big car, and it's always fantastic to see that kind of car in GT racing. Another one is the Ford, a big muscle car. It does not fit in with the supercar looks of all the other cars, and that's why I love these cars.
The Porsches are the supercar. It's a sports car. Get it right.
Sports car, but a very agile sports car. You know, that car is built around the Nordschleifer. It's built to conquer the Nordschleifer. It's livery again. It's a fantastic race car. It sounds glorious. It's absolutely beautiful. It's not a big boat of a car.
Fantastic looking grid. Race 2 about to come up. Of course, we're at Spa. Of course, Spa Francorchamps. What a beautiful part of the world. If you haven't been there, ladies and gentlemen, do yourself a favour. Get there for one, whether it's for the F1 race or the 24-hour or WEC. Get there. It's an amazing bit of road. It's got oodles of history. There's actually a house near Eau Rouge. It's just before Eau Rouge. It's actually over 100 years old, and it's been there pretty much since Spa was built. So there you go. Bit of useless information there for you. Look, there we go. Wow, look at that. Miss Hignett's all over it. Love it. There you go. It's a very famous part of the circuit. Of course, a lot of the corners are named after parts of the towns around the circuit. Eau Rouge, I believe, was it Radio? No, it's Eau Rouge. That's the lake or the river. I'm pretty sure it's Eau Rouge. So, yeah, just a classic circuit and famous for a lot of reasons. Of course, big accidents. Who can forget the F1 race in 1998 when pretty much the whole field just piled into each other? We've seen many a GT3 pile up, many a prototype pile up. Of course, Group C's used to race here back in the day. They were awesome. Go watch that on YouTube if you're a young person. As we are looking at Jared Muddlefoot here. Really interesting to see how actually Muddlefoot goes in this race. He's starting in 5th as well, so up the field a little bit. He's got the pace to really put the pressure on these front runners.
talking back about that house, I wonder if someone still lives there. If they do, they've got the
They do.
best house in the they've got the best house in the world. I could fall asleep to the sound of GT cars driving up Eau Rouge during the 24-hour, getting to see WEC, getting to see F1, all those amazing races you get here at Spa from the comfort of your home. Really living the dream there as we got our pole sitter, Blake Griffiths. She's got pole position, and I'm very excited for that one. Obviously, Blake, our big boss here for the commentators, she arranges all these things. She's the one that makes this happen, commentating wise, gets us in the booth, and she's doing a fantastic job making sure that we've got commentary happening for OR, and she's starting in P1, so I'm excited for that.
Very excited for that. She's going to be strong in that Mercedes as well. Second position is Bank. Really keen to see how Bank goes. Been thoroughly impressed with Bank. Been watching his racing. Yeah, been really impressed with the way he goes about it. And of course, Robbie Underwood, bit of an old school character. We've known Robbie for a while now. He knows what he's doing. Bishop, Maddleford, Rad, Mateen. Oh, that look. Mateen, Rad, and Godfrey all together again. Grab your popcorn. That's going to be a beauty. But I'm actually going to have a bit of a break in terms of a rest, and I'm going to put the pressure on. Gobby, it's all yours.
All right, there we go. Well, talking about Bank again, another one of those nice guys. In fact, his son actually races in the Academy Series, and it seems to be progressing very well. And Bank currently on the front row of the grid as they go around the bus stop chicane to the start-finish line. However, like race 1, we do not actually start the race on the start-finish line. We started right after turn 1 before Eau Rouge. Let's see what these drivers have to offer. Obviously, the front end of the field, not quite as fast as the pros starting at the back mid-pack of the field, but that does not mean these front runners don't have anything to show to these pro drivers, showing that they can defend and hold their positions as we go down the start-finish straight and around turn 1 for race 2 of the Thermaltake Octane Online Racing Sprint Series, and Blake leads us down the turn 1 straight into Eau Rouge as they're anticipating the start. The start will be a bit later for race 2, right onto the bottom of Eau Rouge, but let's see what these drivers have. Let's see what Bank has in the beautiful Porsche, if they can jump Blake, and looks like we are now green for race 2, and Bank does get the jump on Blake. Blake not getting the best starts, in fact getting jumped by Robbie Underwood, and now they go down the start-finish straight. It's a bit messy, but so far so good. The cars are staying on track, and no incidents on race 2, but as I say that, they go into Le Comum, and Robbie Underwood really putting the pressure and now really starting to push. Obviously, we've seen Underwood before, very aggressive driver, and is now P2 to Bank, and Blake unfortunately falling down the field, and they're now sitting P7, so not exactly the best start for our commentary big boss, but it's still a 30-minute race. There's still time to recover, and Bank so far holding on to P1, and Robbie Underwood really starting to put the pressure as we're with Maddleford in P9. I think another one of those drivers that did not have the best of starts and slowly falling down the grid as the drivers now go around Puo, and it looks a bit messy at the back as they go almost 3 wide there into Puo. Please don't do that. That's just a recipe for disaster. But so far so good. In fact, we've had a cleaner start in race 2 than we did in race 1. I did not see that happening, but these drivers making it happen as they go once again 3 wide into Piff Path. And as we see Brock Godfrey actually going off track here, and we're now on board with Damiano Turcolini under pressure from Giacomo. Giacomo looking down the inside of Stavolo 2, not making it stick, and as we see more drivers at the back going off track. This is some very exciting racing we're seeing here on lap 1 of race 2. As we see Glory Babby really starting to push, in fact looking like the drivers in front having to check up, as we do see a spin on the exit of Blanchimont. That was the white Ferrari. I think that was the Ferrari of Giacomin actually going into a spin, so that's not what Giacomin would have wanted for their second race, as we have Bishop now, and as absolute disaster here at the exit of the bus stop chicane, but so far most drivers managing to find the racetrack again, and we are still racing here for race 2 as they now go again almost 3 wide into turn 1. It's always scary seeing these drivers go 3 wide. It's even 2 wide is already scary enough. Seeing drivers go 3 wide is just ooh. Really gotta trust each other, and as you see Bank unfortunately going down the field, and it's okay. J-Rad now is the lead of the race as we see a Porsche and a BMW. I think that's the BMW of Underwood, and actually Bank trying to look around the inside but deciding to pull out of it, and we see Underwood and the Porsche of Bishop now fighting for what looks to be P3, and in fact Bank still getting it stuck in there as we have again more back of the field again, very clamped up, very condensed here for race 2. We saw that in split yellow, and we're seeing it again in split green, just the different levels of racing you have between drivers in the second race really tends to give you a compact field and very intense racing, as we now have the conductor of the train and the Bishop as the 2 ahead are slowly starting to pull away. Currently Rad in P1, Barker now already back up to P2. I think Barker started further back, as we do have a replay of, I think that's the incident that happened down at Blanchemont. As we see, it was Mags, and I think Mags just collected the rear of Giacomo, and Giacomo just ended up going on a spin, but actually managing to somewhat keep it straight. No, not the wall, but that's a bit of a dangerous rejoin, but luckily the drivers behind have managed to check up on that as the field's slowly starting to calm down. That was very, very intense.
That was an amazing bit of driving there from Giacomo. Because that could have been a lot worse. He absolutely tried to save that and not cause a huge pile up. So, also let's get a bit of a round of applause for Tim Gobe there. What an opening start to that. That was a great bit of commentary. Well done. So, you've made me proud. I'm kind of chuffed now. I feel like an old dad. So looking at Damiano here as Rad pops in the fast lap, a 2:8.85. And that'll feed up there in 6, so he's making his way back after a poor start. He's going to go for a move here at the source. Oh, there's not a lot of room there, side by side. Oh, there's a touch, there's a huge touch. Oh, that's spun the BMW out of Underwood. Oh dear, that's going to be looked at, unfortunately. That may come with a bit of a naughty slap on the wrist. So head up now through Rouge and ready on Damiano's looking very aggressive. Oh, there's been a huge moment with... Is that Griffiths? Griffiths has had a massive moment in the Merc. She's had, I don't know what's happened there, but it's got all crossed up. And she's had the back right out of it. She's on board now with Damiano's head down up towards Lecom. Clips the Apex, Muddleford just in front. This is in crazy stuff. Race 2, I told you.
That was, again, another fantastic bit of driving. Griffiths keeping it on 4 wheels, keeping it on track, and luckily not finding it to the wall. As we see a lot of battling at the back. This is very, very exciting stuff for race 2. As we contact at the back, and I think that's Stacanius and the Ferrari. Oh no, that is not what you want, but that's just race 2 for you in a nutshell.
Unbelievable. Just, unfortunately, when it backs up like that, it's... Sometimes you just got nowhere to go, but got ourselves, here we go, replay here. So we've got 3 wide here at some spots. This is Hislop here in the Porsche one's a little bit wide at the bus stop. Everything's okay here. Oh, that Squires in the background, it just bumps him around. Unfortunate, and that's caused that big concertina effect. That may be coming with a bit of a naughty, as Giacomo gets a 5-second penalty for that lap 1 incident. We're on board now with Mags and the big bad Bentley. It's got Giacomo, that is not the line, sir.
That's one thing about Stavolo too. You gotta get it just right, and these drivers will be trying to be taking it pinned. And if you take it just slightly offline, that's where you are.
Oh, what a save!
On track again. That's 2 times now that she's managed to just hold the car. But unfortunately, it looks impressive, but it's not the fastest way around the track. Maybe falling from the pressure, or maybe just having a very aggressive Mercedes setup, as we're now on board with J-Rad. That's going to be under pressure from Barker now. Barker really slowly closing the gap. They're now 5/10 behind J-Rad. So let's see what these two can do, going up Eau Rouge into Why do I keep forgetting this? Les Cons.
Radio. Les cons.
It's pronounced Les Cons, but
Les cons.
I don't know how I tried to pronounce it there.
Well,
It's
if
a
you're
mix.
Aussie, if you're really Aussie, you could just call it Les Cons. Just looking at Barker, and Barker, we know Barker, if he gets a sniff of a win, he's going to have some. So just keep an eye on the background and Bishop. It's got ourselves a replay at the start here. So this might explain sort of what happened is we're heading up through Rouge and Radion now. And there's Roof's there, so she just had a moment. And Rad's just, yep, hot knife through butter, thank you very much. Yep, bit of 3-4 wide action. And it looks okay. Yeah, nice. Oh, there you go. It was actually a relatively clean start. Through Purvine. So the gap's 2.4 seconds back to Bishop. We'll keep an eye on that. We'll watch that. That's a watching brief. Then Mateen, Bank and Maddleford as Mateen gets a 10-second penalty. Oh, that hurts. So that's going to really drop Mateen down. That changes the order of the top 10 now. Just having a look. I'm keeping an eye also on Babby and Mags and G. Coleman because they're our quick operators. But Thurkalini's the one to watch. Up to 7th position. Damiano is having a cracking race too. And here he is at the moment actually working on the back of Maddleford. As they go through Blanchimont now. Porsche feels fabulous through here. It just
Feels
sort of
fabulous,
drifts
looks
in.
fabulous. It's absolutely beautiful. But can we talk about that battle at the front again? J-Rad actually holding his own.
Hang on. Oh, Damiano. That was the avenue of apprehension. That was always a closing gap of diminishing returns. But do like the fact that Damiano backed right out of it. Yep. Might still come with a penalty, but always respect drivers that back out of things that they know they may not have earned properly.
Okay.
hang on.
Just looking like Damiano just has better exits there, and unfortunately Maddleford not having the greatest of exits. I think right on his rear bumper up Eau Rouge. That's always very scary. That is very, very much big bull stuff, but unfortunately, cue the Jaws theme song. We have the Ford of Glory Babby slowly moving up the field, and unfortunately for Damiano, that's going to be position lost to Glory Babby. And now Glory Babby looking at Maddleford to get around once more.
So the Mustang is just starting to wind up now with Babby behind the wheel. It's a long way to go in this race. Still got just a tick under 20 minutes to go, so plenty to play out. See that gap between Barker and Rad now, that's maintained at 0.3, but that gap between Bishop and Rad is out to 2.7. Oh, Battleford! Oh, wow! Holy moly, how did he hold on to that? That is some epic car control there from Battleford. Welcome back, sir.
The Tokyo drift on that one. I was sure he was going to spin on that one. In fact, I got some goosebumps from that. Crossing my fingers, he would have kept it on. In fact, he even managed to stay ahead of Glory Babby there. But I was the split green so far, showing us fantastic car control. These drivers getting into these very scary situations, but managing to keep it on track, as we do have a replay of what just happened there. In fact, I was looking like Glory Babby had maybe a bit of netcode, that's but Maddleford a bit. But Maddleford just managing to keep it on track, especially in the McLaren, a very aero-sensitive car. Usually if you start going in a spin in that car, it does not like it very much, but Maddleford managing to keep it on track, but unfortunately does lose the position. But still, credits given where credits due. Maddleford showing us fantastic car control in the McLaren here.
Definitely, and this battle spicing right up because Damiano is there as well. We've got Mags and Giacomo's just lurking in the background as well. So these three are just starting to form a bit of a train behind Maddleford. Just got to get the head down, maybe cool his tyres off just a little bit, bring him back in the window. And see if he can just hold, as they go through Rouge and ready on it. Damiano, surely that's a cut there. But Damiano, the problem is this is where the Porsche hits the proverbial brick wall. Oh, I can feel his pain. I can feel his pain. There is just
Even
nothing
with
he
a
can
better
do.
exit, even with a better exit, the McLaren was pulling away. I feel really bad for Porsche drivers when there's long straights involved. That is the bane of that car. Everywhere else, it's a fantastic car, but when a straight is involved, you can't kiss that car goodbye.
Oh, Madelford again. Oh, he holds onto it. So, a couple of big slides. His rear tyres have said, yep, I'm done, thank you. So he's just going to have to drive it not straighten out, which brake a little bit earlier, just be a little bit more gentle on the throttle. Just try and nurse those rears home. We saw Mags in the background here run quite wide, and that's allowed G. Coleman to pass as well. So this is all just starting to spice up here. G. Coleman, of course, he's carrying a 5-second penalty, so he's really got to get past these two and get his head down and see if he can clear that 5-second gap. Of course, I am on Babby watch as well, as we're looking here at Barker. This is for the race lead at Blanchimont, 240 kilometres an hour, flat to the floor. Is he going to try and go for the delayed breakdown at the bus stop? We know the McLaren isn't the strongest on the brakes. The Ferrari's normally pretty good, but Barker just tucks the nose back in. Maybe just sizing him up for his opportunity and waiting for that moment.
I honestly think J-Rad is giving Barker a run for his money, showing that he does have pace and he wants to win. J-Rad is not going to give up P1 so easily, especially when there's a win on the line. He's going to be fighting for his life to hold on to that position. Winning an OR Sprint Series race is just bragging rights, honestly, especially if you're a Pro-Am driver. You can just brag to your friends. It's just a fantastic achievement that unfortunately a lot of us still have yet to achieve, but we never give up. We keep pushing as we're still on board. But
oh, man!
He does collect the wall this time. Wondering what's happened there. The car did not spin, but it looked like he just got launched to the right here.
Oh, I wanted to pull the Murray Walker one. That would have been the perfect time for that. Oh, God! As we're looking here at... Oh, it's G. Coleman and Thurcolini are throwing down here. G. Coleman around the outside! No! You can't do that! Look at G. Coleman, seriously. That is ridiculous. Around the outside of Melbourne, if you don't mind.
That was really close. Did you see how close they got to each other? That was really close from seeing Giacomo going to another spin as we get the onboard of Mags now. And in fact, he gets a bit of slide actually before the curb at the bottom, but does manage to keep somewhat the car straight. But unfortunately, he does manage to collect a bit of side damage, but that should not be too bad for the Bentley. As we're back with Giacomo making very deep, ballsy moves, but so far so good. It is paying off for Luca Giacomo here.
Certainly he's got to make these moves out, because you can see Babby just starting to drive off into the distance as Hislop gets a 15-second penalty. Ooh, that's a harsh one there. So no doubt we'll get that queued up. But that moment, there's a huge accident there from, unfortunately, the big bad Bentley. There's no small accidents up there. Just got to start. Here we go.
Oh, no.
Replay.
I see a replay. I see an Audi. Let's see what's happened there. And it just napped on him. And unfortunately, did not hold the brakes. And unfortunately, collects a Ferrari. Oh boy, I was not expecting to see that. That snap. That's just an Audi thing. That is very much an Audi thing. And unfortunately, that Ferrari was just a passenger at that point. There's not much they could have done there.
I've always said the Porsche at least lets you know it wants to kill you. The Audi is actively trying to kill you and won't tell you about it either. It'll just go, yep, it's time to die now.
As we do have a message in chat, apparently that last penalty was incorrectly given, so hopefully we'll see Hislop, and we do see Hislop getting the 15 seconds removed.
Doing it.
Please do not worry, Babby.
Yeah, Bank just had a Porsche moment there. I saw the camera and just the way it snapped. I thought, yep, been there before. But did really well to hold on to it. Still running in sixth position is no mean feat. That is a huge drive from Banks. Thoroughly impressed so far. Thoroughly impressed.
And especially when it's a driver like Glory Babby behind you, it's no shame in losing the position to them. Glory Babby has been absolutely flying here. They've been flying last race and they're flying in race 2 and potentially looking to get into P1. But if we look at the timing board, J-Rad still in P1 holding off Barker. In fact, Barker making a mistake here, going onto the sand, and that's just allowed J-Rad to build a bit of a gap, and there's only 12 minutes of this race remaining. We're past the halfway point now, and J-Rad so far has managed to hold off. Are we going to see J-Rad potentially getting their first sprint race win here?
That would be huge because J-Rad's been around a long time in OR. It'll be massive, the pressure we're feeling, but this is real pressure at the moment. Matterford's under increasing pressure from G. Coleman and Thircolini. It's head up towards now Blanchimont. This is big, I'm just going to say it's big balls time now. It's time to get him out. Show them what you got. Gia Coleman's going to try and set up for the move at the bus stop. Brakes very deep, as we know Gia Coleman does. Matterford's going to put the car there right side by side. Matterford's gone around. Gia Coleman's gone around. He's got it to Thircolini. Oh, it's gone pear-shaped. Unfortunate. Matterford somehow has won out of that. I don't know how, but somehow. And Blake Griff's gone, well, I'll just clean up here, and got Mags there as well. This is not over. This is going to kick on for a little while. We're just seeing blood pressures get raised in race 2. It is standard super sprint behaviour.
Griffiths has a better exit out of turn 1, actually manages to get ahead of Matterford before Eau Rouge. That was a fantastic move from Blake. They do get a bit sideways there, but they managed to get off track. Again into the wall at the top of Radio, but so far for Blake Griffiths managing to pass Matterford on pace alone, giving them P8 in the race. But what happened to Mags as we get more contact from Barker this time? J-Rad, keep it on track, keep it straight, J-Rad.
I'm going to say the race has gone off. It's gone off. We've had moments everywhere. We've had our leaders come together. We've had a huge crash up there at Eau Rouge and Radion. Oh, I can hear Benjamin Hignett now going, which replay? Oh my God, where do I start? And what had this done? This has allowed Babby now to really get the teeth into this. This race is far from over. Barker's in the lead, but we don't know what happened up front. We'll have to wait for a replay. But it is all kicked off here. Matterford will get a 15-second penalty for causing that collision on lap 3. Wowee.
I can see on the left of our stream right now, Benjamin. There's so much going on here. Towards the final 10 minutes of this race, and we do get a replay of the incident between. Yeah, that's the same spot as last time, and this time collects the wall much harder, and this is going to be significant damage for the big Bentley. So Mags not having a good time at Radion. We're now looking at Mateen, currently in P4, but with a 10-second penalty, and Glory Babby does have the fastest lap of the race. They're absolutely flying here. J-Rad still within 2 seconds of Barker. Let's see what happens between the incident between both of those drivers. As again, we get another replay, and this time it is
G. Coleman and Matterford, and third lane's at Matt. Oh, that was Damiano had absolutely nowhere to go there. Unfortunate, and the big spin there from G. Coleman with his 5-second penalty as Scanius there gets a 15. So they're starting to come in now, thick and fast. We're starting to see the red boxes light up as we are back live here with Mateen and Bishop. I told you keep an eye on Bishop. He's still in third, very clean. We haven't seen him on stream, and the old adage goes, if you aren't on stream, it normally means you are having a very good day out. He has got Babby right behind him though. That would be absolutely terrifying in a Porsche, seeing a Mustang come behind you that quickly along the Camel Straight. But this is where the Porsche does its best work. Through the lovely area, through down now towards Rivage. Really important to break it nice and straight in the Porsche. Get that nose hooked in and then let the bum do its work. We've got ourselves another replay. This Scanius. So this is what happened to Blanchimont. 131 goes right out sideways and holds on to it. Nice save, sir.
They almost collected. I think that was the McLaren there, going for Blanchimont. He actually flew by at light speed, but now we see Andy Bishop under tremendous pressure from the Ford of Glory Babby, and in fact, Glory Babby is going to make the move around Piff Path. Maybe Bishop was like, you know what? I don't.
Yeah.
You're in a Ford. That's a big car. You're scaring me. You can't just have the position. I just want to finish my race. And now Babby will be looking at J-Rad. J-Rad not too far ahead. But J-Rad will be trying to hold on to that position. Obviously, we had that incident between Barker and J-Rad. Let's see what happens. We have a comment from Ben Curtis. Send stewards help, please. I can't imagine the tremendous amount of work all of a sudden the stewards are having to do, handing out all these penalties for what's just happened in the last 5 minutes of this race. As again, Benjamin Hignett going through the replays I see on our left screen, and there we go.
Yeah.
We do have another replay. That's between Barker and J-Rad. Let's see if he was outside. In fact, he was not alongside on turn in. So that's just probably misjudged his braking point. J-Rad just braking a bit early. But I think that might be a bit of a slap for Barker there. But J-Rad has other issues at hand, as we have Glory Babby now only 2 seconds behind J-Rad. Glory Babby has been flying, and they can see that orange McLaren just ahead, and they smell blood, and they want to get that position for potentially the race winners. There's still 6.5 minutes of this race to go, but we've seen J-Rad defend from Barker, and Barker is no slow driver, and J-Rad has managed to hold them off for this long, and in fact only losing to the position due to contact. So let's see what happens between the top three there.
It's certainly interesting. So Babby is probably in the prime position here. Got a feel for J-Rad, but he's trucking. That McLaren might not be feeling great, but he's still got the foot in it. And you can just see in the background, you can see that big black Mustang coming. Just got to be smart. You never know what's going to happen. 5 minutes remaining, anything can still happen. We've seen it this race. There's may as well throw your script out the window. But it is going to be very interesting to see how all this plays out. So it is Barker leading the way from Rad, Babby, Bishop, Mateen, Bank, Thurcolini, Maddleford, Giacomin, and Gamble are your 10 at the moment. Gamble with 24. Good work, sir. See, the 24, it's just that number. It just makes things happen. And here he is. What a great drive in the beautiful art car inspired BMW. Very nice, classy operator. And he's got actually a Hislop right behind him as well. This is a nice little battle.
Yeah, Hislop really pushing. He wants that top 10, and Gamble knows it. The three cars ahead, though, are both in penalties. Do all have penalties,
Yes.
although two of them are only 5 seconds, but 5 seconds all he needs. If he gets within 5 seconds of the car ahead, and in fact, he's only 6.9 seconds ahead of us. See, Hislop gets a much better exit there. In fact, he decides to go side by side. Blanchimont, Hislop, please don't do that. Okay, as he does decide to pull out. That was
Wow.
heart-wrenching. That's very scary from Hislop, being very aggressive there. He wants that position. He wants that P10. He wants to get ahead of the big BMW. And in the background, we see, I think that's the, that is the AMG of Griffiths staying ahead. Not staying ahead. It looks like they've lost positions, actually. They're all the way there. I wonder what's happened. I wonder what's happened to them. But they're now
that
in.
is a draw.
They're in P12 because they were ahead of Battleford, Giacomin, all these other drivers, but all of a sudden they're behind. So perhaps not a bit of a sketchy moment. But let's see what happens between these two. As we have Luca Giacomin getting a 10-second penalty of their own. That's probably for contact at the bus stop chicane. See if Gamble manages to hold off Hislop in the big BMW. But Hislop really on the charge now, wants that top 10, wants to get as many points as possible. In fact, their main concern will probably be Maddleford and Mateen, as they are battling for the Silver Championship. But it's not all and over yet, as we do get another replay at this stuff. That's a Ferrari.
Whoa!
That's a little bit of a moment. You don't expect the Ferrari to get a moment there. Wondering what's happened there. I'm not sure if that's the Ferrari or if that's the McLaren perhaps tapping the Ferrari. We did not see that McLaren before ahead of the Ferrari, so maybe it's a bit of contact involved there. But
Oh, it's
that
a
is a
weird
very
snap.
yeah, that's very odd for the Ferrari. It's one of those downforce cars which really relies on downforce and does really good in these kind of high-speed corners. It doesn't normally lose grip there. So wondering if that McLaren had something to do with it, as we're with Glory Babbitt now really closing the gap on J-Rad now. They're under a second behind with 2 minutes to go. There is still going to be 2 laps to go with this race, and now J-Rad is going to perhaps be sweating a bit. They've got the big Penrite Ford behind them. Let's see what they can do defense-wise against Glory Babbitt. They had a valiant defense against Barker. Let's see if they can recreate it against Glory Babbitt as they now go around turn 1, down the first straight into Eau Rouge.
Oh, this will be the last lap. Oh, this will be close. No, because Barker's already gone, so they'll get one more lap after this. But watch this. This is where, look, we all love ACC, but I'm sorry, this is frankly ridiculous. Watch this.
You say
Hang on.
that?
Oh, hang on.
Wasn't close on the McLaren. Made you eat your words.
That McLaren's got to have literally no leg on it.
I think it's a mix of that and just the restrictor has to get a very good. The Ford gets a very good exit there as they go side by side into Ravage. And oh, that's a bit scary, but the Ford doesn't really like these slow corners and does tend to struggle there. So Brad just keeping the position so far, but we've seen Babby getting these insane exits. We see the difference in level between these two, and this is one of the reasons why Babby has that pro badge next to their names, and they're showing why they have that pro badge next to their name. But Rad also showing us that they can defend against the pros. Just because they have that pro M badge does not mean that they can't defend against the pros. Babby looking around the inside, and there's more contact there. Oh, and they do stay ahead now, wondering if perhaps a bit aggressive on the defense there, but Rad does manage to stay ahead. But I'm wondering if Babby was side by side, wouldn't turn in. That is one of our new rules now in OOR. If the front axle is aligned with the rear axle of the car ahead, you are entitled to space before turn-in. Should I add in? I should add before turn-in. If they were side by side before turn-in, that could be on Rad there, but so far they've managed to stay ahead of Babby, and Babby will have one more lap to try and go around. And in fact, that's a bit of a hard one.
That one on, yep, leaving that one. I'm pleading the fifth on that, as we will start our last lap now. And this is very interesting. So it is Barker leading the way on the road, with Rad in second, Babby in third, who is working very hard on this McLaren. But I tell you what, Rad, he's one of the old Pro-Am drivers. I've raced against Rad many a time. We're a bit of a, from that rookie school, we're a bit of a hard-nosed bunch. So he's used a go fast token there. That is a classic Pro-Am move right there.
That is very cheeky. He knows he has a potential win in there. All he has to do is hold off just for one more lap. Babby obviously flying, but Rad wants it. Rad smells it. He only has a bit sideways there, and that's exactly what Rad needs to stay ahead. In fact, to build just that bit extra of a buffer. And we'll see what happens here. Babby will still have a couple more chances here. It's not over. We've seen Babby have good exits there, but Rad really wants it.
Does the key for Rad, he's got to absolutely nail down the Stavolo and Paul Ferrer. He's got to get that right. If he can get that right, he's a chance. Because if that Mustang does get in the toe towards Blanchimont, it could be very interesting. Now through Pouhon. He's been great through here the whole race. Lovely through Pouhon. That was what his best. And Barker does get that penalty as well. So this is now for the race win. Now it's really on. Rad, the pressure's on. He's a Pro-Am. This will be a popular victory amongst us Pro-Ams. He's
popular
just got
victory for
everyone. He's just got curveball for Rare, but the Mustang's right there now. He goes as deep as he can. Brad's just going to have to place this absolutely perfectly. But Babby's going to force the issue. He's off track there a little bit. A little bit of grass. Oh, that's crazy. They're touched in the Botchamon. Oh, but Brad holds on around the outside. He's going to keep the foot bearing into it. It's just got the bust up to go. Can Brad hold on for this victory? This will be a huge victory in OR. Oh, he's got around. And the pressure's got to him. Oh, no.
Breaking all.
And Mateen, but Bishop might have... Oh, Babby's going to get the win. Oh, wow, Mateen will finish in third on the road with a penalty. Brad, that is cruel. Motorsport can be so cruel sometimes. Oh, that is such a shame. Absolute tragic. Oh, I'm going for him.
Oh, that is a heartbreak. That is a full-on heartbreak for J-Rad. It was so close, yet so far for potential first win on OR. And unfortunately, he will have to do with, well, it says P7, but Babby just getting the win there. But there is still potential post-race penalties to be handed out there, so it is not over, but it's looking like that at most it may be a P2 with Bishop, actually P3 with Bishop and Bank finishing ahead. But how about that for a heartbreak for J-Rad?
And for those ladies and gentlemen who want the race results, if you stick around to about 3 in the morning, they should be posted around then.
Oh, it was so close yet so far.
Oh, that's heartbreak. That is gutting. That is absolutely gutting. I feel for you, Raddy. I do feel for you. You did everything right, literally one corner. It is a shame, but at least you know you got the pace and you've got it there. So it's there. You know it's there, which is always gives you that extra bit of confidence as the fireworks do pop off. And the crowd now goes to get themselves some Belgian sausages and some beautiful Belgian beer. What a race that was. That was incredible. Race 2, I knew it would. It always never fails. Unbelievable. And what a way to finish off an evening of racing. Big thank you to Thermaltake, of course. You have been watching the Thermaltake OR Sprint Series from Spa-Francorchamps. This has been Split Green. Any thoughts, Tim? Final thoughts while we wait for the race results?
That was an explosive end to a fantastic race 2 in Split Green, as we see the screen light up in red, and I expect more post-race penalties. Feel for the stewards there. They've got a lot more work ahead of them as we are about to close off there, as we should hopefully get the results of the race. And so far, race 2 results, P1 for
Go
now
on, work that out.
is Parker, followed by Babby. I expect Babby to get P1 that one, followed by Mateen, as we get another session has ended set. So we'll get the real results now. We should at least get the real results now, as our cameraman is struggling to return to garage. That is replay. That's replay. That is not timetables. Thank you. As we now get the race results for race 2, and it is Glory Babby taking P1, followed by Bishop in P2, and Barker holds off to get a P3 in the overall. As we move on to the silver class, it will be once again Bishop in P1, followed by Hislop in P2, and Metalford in P3 for the Pro-Am Championship. It will be Mateen in P1, followed by Bank in P2. Good on him. And unfortunately for our heartbreaker of this race, J-Rad in P3. In the AM class will be Izzle, will take P1, and apparently Underwood in P2, followed by Callum Lloyd in P3. Oh,
There we go.
very much a heartbreak of a race.
Certainly was a heartbreak of a race, but it had it all, and that's what we love about it. So, of course, coming up on an hour, make sure you do stick around tomorrow evening for, of course, the GT4s and Porsche Cup. And, of course, it will be the Thermaltake OLR Sprint Series, the one and only Split Red. That's going to be an absolute rip snorter. But other than that, I am Sean Muller. I've been joined by the one and only Tim Goeb. And, of course, you've been watching OLR.